4 years, no team in the league has been so plagued by bad kicking as has St. Louis. And this is a short kickoff taken by number 47, Dwight Beverly. And Beverly is hit and dropped at the 24-yard line. John Fourcade had a brilliant debut as a National Football League quarterback a week ago against the Rams. He will lead the Saint offense. There are his numbers from a week ago, and here's the defense that he'll be going against. The St. Louis defense has a number of returning veteran players on it. Defensive line includes returning veteran Goralichik, Curtis Greer, sack leader over the last 4 years. Linebackers Charlie Baker and Jr. are both returning veterans. Leonard Smith was an all-pro strong safety a year ago in the secondary. On 1st and 10, from near the 25-yard line, Fourcade's pass is complete. Number 80, Stacy Dawsey with the catch. A short gain. It will be 2nd down. New Orleans backs and receivers include Fourcade, Beverly, Rodenberger. Eric Martin is a returning veteran player who has crossed the picket line. And the offensive line for New Orleans includes returning veteran player Darren Gilbert and the tight end Malcolm Scott can be used as a receiver. You will also see 2 other men playing tight end through the day for the Saints. On 2nd and 5, it is Beverly with the football, and he leans forward for a 1st down at the 35-yard line.
The Saints come out, Jim, they've only got 3 or 4 basic formation. They're going to give a lot of movement, a little bit of shifting around, but it's going to be kept real simple with, like I said, maybe 3 basic formations, some motion, and just plain vanilla type football because of the inexperience of the young players.
The tackle was made by number 76, the rookie Goralchik, who crossed the picket line on Tuesday, November 22.
Defensively, the Cardinals have a lot of their defenses in. They're ready to do some blitzing and put a little pressure on Fourcade.
Now 1st down from the 31. Beverly again with the football and a pickup of about 4. Leonard Smith came up to make the tackle from the strong safety position. Leonard Smith has led the Cardinals in tackles in each of the past 2 seasons. An interesting story, he crossed the picket line on Tuesday, November 22, as did Goralchik.
Leonard Smith, dynamite strong safety, plays like a linebacker, real tough. He was the first alternate last year on the NFC team for the secondary position at safety.
On 2nd and 7, Fourcade converts for the 1st down, throwing to Mike Waters, one of the 3 New Orleans tight ends. Smith was there to make the tackle, but Waters, who had a big play last week, makes another catch.
Here you see Fourcade. He's a sprint-out type quarterback, but here he takes a little sprint-out action, a little play fake, but stands in the pocket very well, delivers the ball out from the tight end. This tight end, Mike Waters, is a receiving tight end in this offense. They have a blocking tight end who his strength is blocking. This player's strength is in receiving.
And that 82-yard touchdown reception, as you saw, was a club record last week against the Rams. Beverly again with the football. And Beverly has 4 carries early in the game and broke a tackle to pick up good yardage to about the Saints' 40. Last week they got big production from a player named Vincent Alexander. This week Alexander went off to San Diego to visit a girlfriend and has not come back.
Yet to return. I don't know if he's working out or what.
Neither does Jim Mora.
Same type formation as last time. Little movement.
Almost caught by Malcolm Scott, but it slipped out of his hands at the 30-yard line, and now the Saints will face 3rd down for the 1st time in the game. Last week against the Rams, New Orleans converted 9 of 10 3rd down situations in the 1st half.
Great consistency on 3rd down, and teams that win are teams that will hold the turnovers to a minimum, teams that will convert on 3rd down, and teams that play well on special teams in the kicking game.
I guess that's true in any kind of football.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
5 defensive backs for the Cardinals. Fourcade with the moving pocket. Needed to get to the 34-yard line, and he may have had it.
John Forcade likes to get out on the corners. He played this way at Ole Miss. He's playing this way now, and he's very successful at it. Getting outside, they pin the defensive end, get him outside. He doesn't mind running with the ball. Here he sees he's got room to make the first down, gets a couple of good blocks, and picks up the first down. That's his strength, is his mobility and being able to run with the football.
So they convert their first third down situation of this game, and Forcade, celebrating his 27th birthday, has had checkered experiences over the past 5 years, but may have found a home. Beverly getting a lot of work early, and another 5-yard gain before Greer and Anthony Burke made the stop for St. Louis. And you look at Jim Mora, who was the coach of the dominant team in the United States Football League, the Philadelphia/Baltimore Stars. Looks as though he may be headed for similar success in New Orleans.
He's gone down to New Orleans, and he's really built up a program down there. They're really enthusiastic, and they're real happy what he's done. The players really enjoy being around him, as this man, the St. Louis Cardinals coach, a real players coach.
Beverly on second down appears to have first down yardage near the 20-yard line. Burke and Geralchik on the stop for St. Louis, but Beverly got it past the chain. And so it's another first down for New Orleans, which begins this game with a sustained drive after a big offensive performance last week against the Rams.
Thing you notice right off the bat, it seems like New Orleans' offensive line is taking control of the line of scrimmage. They've given Forcade time to throw the ball, and now they're running the ball, and they're knocking them out of there. The offensive line, it seems to be taking control of the line of scrimmage.
Pass took forever to get there. It was intended for Mike Waters. Incomplete.
Threw the ball where he had to throw it. We didn't get much on the ball because of the pressure, but he threw the ball out front where it could have been a great catch to complete it, but don't risk the interception down here. Protect the field goal.
The Saints like to go with 2 tight ends and 3 wide receivers. A little bit of an unusual set. We'll see more of it as time goes by in the NFL.
As we said earlier, they've got 3 basic formations, and they run all their plays from all the formations to give the defense a different look from all the formations.
Beverly on the draw inside the 15. Leonard Smith again with the tackle.
As we said, the offensive line seems to be coming out and dominating. You see the offensive line is a draw play where they set up, let the pass defenders come up the field, rush the quarterback, let them take an outside release, push him to the outside, let the back break inside.
Running behind veteran offensive tackle Darren Gilbert, one of the returning regulars. Beverly has 6 carries for 31 yards. The third down of the game now for New Orleans. Forcade hits Malcolm Scott, and he'll be close to the first down. They needed to get the ball just inside the 11-yard line.
Great presence on Forcade's situation, Dan, to see that player right there on the hash mark to try to get the first down. I think he's going to be short.
E.J. Jr. was coming on the blitz and had put pressure on Forcade. And without a measurement, it appears that they're about a half yard short of a first down. Now the chains are going to come out. Referee Fred Wyant in charge of today's officiating crew. And like I said, they pick up the first down.
As you said, 1st and 10.
Just inside the 11. So it's first down now, still 10 yards to go. They can make another first down at the 1-yard line.
Down in this part of the field, as far as this defense is concerned, the offense will probably think man-to-man type coverage. You usually get a man-to-man coverage with a linebacker coming down inside the 10, 15-yard line.
Double tight end. The only setback is Rodenberger. Getting away from the blitz is Forcade. Touchdown.
Great catch.
And we will wait to see if this one is going to hold up. Number 80 is Stacy Dawsey, a 5'9", 154-pound wide receiver. Jimmy Carter, or check it, Charlie Baker was the man. Ineligible receiver downfield. It's going to wipe that out.
That will usually happen when a quarterback scrambles like that. When he gets outside, trying to buy some time, trying to wait for somebody to get open, the offensive lineman will block a couple of counts. They think after 2, 3 counts, they can release and help block downfield. Forcade was behind the line of scrimmage then, buying time, lineman downfield.
So now with the ball moved back to the 21-yard line, it is 2nd down and 20 on the loss of down penalty.
Talking to Forcade yesterday, John said that if there was one receiver on the team that he was on the same page with, that they seemed to be thinking alike, it was Stacy Dawsey. Great catch in the back of the end zone.
And Mora hinted that perhaps if he had it to do over again, the team wouldn't have cut Dawsey in preseason. They've been very impressed with the little man from Indiana. Now Dawsey has gone to the sideline as Eric Martin re-entered the game at wide receiver for New Orleans. Martin goes to the top of the screen. This time the Saints have 2 setbacks. Beverly with his 7th carry of the game, and another flag flies as Beverly gets near the 15. So the Saints, after having moved the ball to the 11-yard line, are now being moved backward by their own mistakes. Penalties on 2 successive plays. And that was the voice of referee Fred Wyant. And both penalties go against Henry Thomas, a rookie guard out of Southwest Texas State.
Talking to Jim Mora yesterday, he didn't hesitate when saying that he's going to keep 3 quarterbacks. It looks like John Forcade will be with his team the rest of the year.
1st down, 30 yards to go. Make it 2nd and 30. First penalty was a loss of down. Forcade gets it down to about the 22-yard line before Peter Noga and Victor Burnett made the stop for St. Louis. Noga, of course, number 57, wearing the number of his brother, Nico Noga, who normally occupies that position for the Cardinals.
They say there's another Noga on his way, too. Is there an Al Noga play? An Al Noga. There's another one on the way. 3 of them.
Trips from the University of Hawaii.
Here's their obvious passing situation formation, Jim.
1 setback, 3 wide receivers. Forcade lofts it. Almost intercepted as number 21, Mark Jackson, was there. Stacy Dawsey was the intended receiver, but that was not a well-thrown pass.
Threw it off of his back foot. If you're watching in the replay here, you'll see Forcade when he drops back. You'll see him throw the ball off his back foot. Here you see the receiver. Stacy Dawsey going up for the ball, has to fight for it because the ball was way underthrown because he threw the ball off his back foot. Didn't get very much on it because of the rush. Mark Jackson, another player that Gene Stalling said had an opportunity to stay with this club once the strike is settled.
This time the pass is complete to Rodenberger. And he gets it inside the 20 to about the 17-yard line. So now the field goal unit will come on for New Orleans.
You have to like that series of downs for New Orleans, even though they didn't get the ball in. They hurt themselves with penalties, but you have to like the way that John Forcade runs with the ball to try to make something happen. He stands tough in the pocket, and it looks as though the offensive line is playing very well. The New Orleans teams looked pretty well organized.
Kicker is Mike Koper out of North Carolina State, cut by Cleveland in preseason. 3 field goals against the Rams last week, and the hold is dropped. And whoa, here goes Mark Jackson. Well, how's that for a turn of events?
Well, Noga does it last week with a big pass interception for a long touchdown to get them fired up and to get them going. Now Mark Jackson does it by picking up a fumble snap. Here you see the snap, and it looks as though it's a good snap. It's just fumbled. He knocked the ball loose, and Mark Jackson's in the right place. Got that great speed. Number 12, Kevin Ingram, the holder, just fumbled a snap. The snap was good, and Jackson runs it in. Jackson will be with the club once the strike is settled, I'm sure. 76 yards worth of it.
They're going to call it 77 officially. Mark Jackson with his first NFL touchdown. And after the Saints held the football for nearly 9 minutes on the opening drive of the game, it is St. Louis which gets on the board first.
Yeah, that can be really discouraging. You take the ball, you go the length of the field, you penalize yourself a couple of times, you still try to fight back and get the ball in there to try to secure at least a field goal, and then you get a fumble snap that results in a touchdown. You're talking about a 10-point turnaround.
Now Starofsky will try to add the extra point for St. Louis. They manage to snap it and get it down. Starofsky knocks it through. And with 6 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in the first quarter in St. Louis, the Cardinals have jumped on top of the Saints 7-0.
Make red. Be red. Make blue. Be blue. Make colors as bright as life. Make colors feel like colors feel.
The brilliant colors of life. Trust RCA to bring them to you on Precision Performance Big Screen TV. Only from RCA. The most trusted name in electronics.
The Great American Face. Rugged, distinctive. The Great American Razor. Atra. Solid. Pivots for closeness. The Great American Face deserves the Great American Shave. Atra. Only from Gillette.
Buy 10 rolls or more of Owens Corning Pink Insulation now and get your favorite NFL team jacket free.
Every day, millions of batteries die an early death. They die in flashlights, cameras, radios, simply because they lost some life waiting to be bought. But only new Duracell battery packs have a freshness state that guarantees they'll live a long life, not a short one. Freshness dating from Duracell.
This was the scene this morning as St. Louis replacement team players arrived and disembarked from their bus and walked past the picket line, manned by a few Cardinals and various members of other local trade unions to come into the stadium. The man in the silver jacket who was the first one off the bus there was Peter Noga, who on several days has walked past his brother Nico Noga, manning the picket line to come in for workouts. Now Starofsky will prepare to kick it off for St. Louis, with Beverly and Adams deep to receive, and this is Beverly at the 9-yard line. Ooh. Oh, that was a real hit. Phil Forney, number 59, with the big hit. The ball will be at the 23-yard line. I've just been told that strike talks, negotiations have just broken off, and we will be going to New York very shortly for a studio update on the status of collective bargaining negotiation in the National Football League.
The Saints should come out here and not do anything any differently than they've done the first series. It was a very successful series other than the fumble snap. Just do the very same thing they've been doing and control the line of scrimmage.
Beverly, who carried the ball 7 times in the first drive for the Saints, gets the call again, and Leonard Smith came upfield fast to make the tackle for St. Louis.
Leonard Smith, real strong safety, tough safety, plays like a linebacker in there, very highly thought of by Gene Stallings, real tough player.
Normally you would be a bit disconcerted by having your strong safety lead the team in tackles 2 years in a row. Usually the way he plays, not so bad.
No, not so bad, but when secondary people lead the team in tackles, that means somebody's gaining yards.
Beverly again, and Dwight Beverly, a first-year player out of Illinois, this time has a gain of about 6. 8 carries, 41 yards already for Beverly. Peter Noga and Mark Guralczyk made the stop for St. Louis.
Just relying on the blocking. Henry Thomas, 275-pound big guard, and Ken Kaplan, the right tackle, just right in behind them. Nothing fancy, just plain old man, plain vanilla type running offense and dominate the line of scrimmage, which they're doing.
Call it a gain of 9 as he was able to move it all the way out to the 33 for a first down. Double tight end, Malcolm Malcolm Scott and Mike Waters are the tight ends. Beverly, the lone setback behind Fourcade on first down. And Fourcade not nearly as disciplined in the pocket this week as he was a week ago against the Rams. Leonard Smith was covering Waters.
Trying to get the ball to Mike Waters, who is a receiving tight end. Like I said earlier, they've got receiving tight end. They've got a blocker. But Fourcade is being rushed just enough to make him rush his throws. He's throwing off the back foot, leaning back. They're not getting to him. They're making him hurry everything, which is just as good as getting to him. And it's what the secondary people need. A little pressure on him and helps the coverage.
Since leaving Ole Miss, Fourcade has been cut by the Giants and the Saints, played in the USFL, the Canadian Football League, Arena Football, and arrived back in the NFL last week. Beverly again with the football, a pickup of about 3. Peter Noga made the stop, and the Saints will face third down one more time.
Noga, some people say he's too small to play linebacker. He's only about 5'10", about 220 pounds, but he takes it on in there and makes the play. The reason he hasn't stuck with a lot of ball clubs is because of his size. A lot of people think he's not tall enough to get back in those pass zones and play pass defense.
Nickel defense now for St. Louis on third down 6. And Fourcade is done. Number 76 is Mark Goralczyk. 69 is Victor Burnett. Let's go quickly to New York for a strike update with Studios' Brent Musburger.
Well, CBS Sports has just learned that strike talks between Jack Donlin and Gene Upshaw will break off. The formal announcement expected in about half an hour. And, of course, we'll have full details at halftime. Let's send you back to the game.
All right, thank you very much, Brent. As Tommy Barnhart punts the ball away for the New Orleans Saints. And Sikahema brings it back for St. Louis, and here he goes.
Face mask.
Last year's Pro Bowl kick returner was dropped by Reggie Sutton near the New Orleans 30. And if you're right about that penalty, Snake, it's going to move it deeper into New Orleans territory.
Valuable little player, can do a lot of things for you. Like he said, led the league in return yardage, but he's also a good special teams player when he's not returning on covering kicks. He's a valuable player as a backup back, coming out of the backfield as a pass receiving back, can be a valuable player to a team.
And indeed, the ball is moved deeper toward the New Orleans goal. So with St. Louis threatening to widen what is already a 7-0 lead, we'll be back.
Why is this man breathing like he left his cold at someone else's house? Taking the time to read a book.
That will begin at the 17-yard line of New Orleans after the long punt return by Sikahema, followed by the face mask foul that moved the ball 15 yards deeper in New Orleans territory.
Strong arm quarterback, 6'4" or so, has had some trouble with picking up the offense and reading defenses, but he's a big, strong kid with a strong arm.
Halloran on first down throws and dropped immediately in the flat is J.T. Smith. New Orleans came up to make the play. There's the defense for New Orleans. Bruce Clark. Sheldon Andrus getting the call in favor of Tony Allen, who was hurt in pregame warm-ups. Pat Swoops. Larry McCoy, Scott Leach, Billy Rowe, and Joe DeForest. And the secondary features Antonio Gibson at the strong safety, who was a star for the Philadelphia Stars in the USFL under Jim Mora. Reggie Sutton had a punt block touchdown last week against the Rams. Halloran now on second down and 12, or 11, call it, after the loss on first down, completion to J.T. Smith. Man with the football is number 31, Earl Farrell. And Farrell, a returning regular player, is dropped after a short gain. Offensively for St. Louis, Halloran, Derek McAdoo is a rookie who had made the team and crossed the picket line. Farrell crossed the picket line. So did J.T. Smith. So did Troy Johnson. So all of them but Halloran are returning regular players. Ray Brown, Vatterott, Radisic, Lance Smith, Tootie Robbins, and William Harris, both Lance Smith and Tootie Robbins, crossed the picket line as well.
Talking to Gene Stallings yesterday, Jim, they said that they only had about 60% of their offense in, so they will be limited in some of the things that they can do.
First time out of the ball game is called by the New Orleans Saints, and Jim Mora is livid on the sideline. His team trails 7-0.
We're not a company, but but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
In Canada, the rivers run a little colder. Some people say you can taste it in the beer. Molson Gold. Molson is Canadian beer.
Which cold medicine do pharmacists recommend most for 12 hours of relief? The answer to that remains up in the air. Drixoral, the pharmacist's favorite.
An investment firm is only as impressive as it is responsive.
Let's go.
So when interest rates fell, we looked for new ways for our clients to make money and developed unique opportunities like the Prudential Real Estate Investment Trust, a first of its kind in a way to take advantage of changing markets. While others may imitate it, we're busy surpassing it. If anyone can show you bold new thinking in the business of making money, let's close it. It's Prudential Bache, rock solid, market-wise.
A doubleheader day of NFL replacement games continues as the Washington Redskins battle the New York Giants. Coming up next on CBS Sports.
Back at Busch Stadium in Snake, there's one of the youngest-looking 52-year-old men of all time, Jim Mora.
You bet. He was really upset a minute ago. You know, you call those timeouts like that. You waste the timeouts, and we've seen it happen in other replacement games because of mix-up in formations. You need to save those timeouts because you get behind, you need them to control the clock.
Coaches age a little faster in replacement. You betcha. Third down. Halloran looking over the middle, unable to connect. Flag down in the far right flat. Intended receiver was J.T. Smith.
Number 58, first down.
Well, Mora gets a little older as Scott Leach is called for the holding foul away from the ball.
Well, they're trying to get the ball to J.T. Smith, and that's who they've been getting the ball to the last week. He's caught an awful lot of pass, kind of a born-again receiver. He was at Kansas City for a while and did mostly punt return action, and now he's come in here in St. Louis and caught all kind of passes and established himself as a top-notch receiver.
Caught 80 balls last year, 6 last week against the Skins. Farrell on first down, gets near the goal line, but flags are down again. Joe DeForest made the stop for New Orleans.
Holding, number 51, first down.
So Keith Radisick returns the holding favor for St. Louis, and Fred Wyant continues to build up the on-camera time.
Well, these passing, putting yourself in these obvious passing situations, and it really puts the defense to the advantage because they can play more different things. They can bring safeties, they can bring linebackers, and you get in those obvious passing downs. It's awfully tough to pass protect.
2 minutes now to go in the first quarter. On first and long, Halloran gives the football off. And Derek McAdoo has his first carry of the game.
You know, the first thing I noticed, Jim, about the two offensive lines, it looks like the New Orleans offensive line is playing better than St. Louis. They've run the ball several times down here and really haven't gained very much yards. I think that the offensive line of the Saints playing much better than this offensive line.
Second down, 15 yards to go. This time McAdoo has daylight down to the 7-yard line before Gene Atkins made the stop for New Orleans. So it will be third down and goal from the 7.
McAdoo's a player also who's a long shot to make this team. Gene Stallings was real high on him, wanted to see how he performs in this game, and look for him to stay with this team once the strike is settled also. 5'10", 198-pounder from Baylor.
A lot of Baylor running backs in the league, aren't there?
You bet.
Pollard, Walter Abercrombie, Alfred Anderson. On third and goal, J.T. Smith is again the intended receiver, and Halloran just put too much on it.
Very poorly thrown ball. J.T. Smith had his guy beat. He took him down to the inside, break back to the corners, a corner-type route, and he was open, and very poorly thrown pass.
The beaten defender was Darrell Toussaint. Good New Orleans name.
Toussaint. New Orleans.
And now New Orleans will mount to try to block the field goal attempt of Jason Starofsky. Starofsky steps into position, gets it up and gets it through. So St. Louis, on its first offensive possession of the game, takes a 10-0 lead. 45 seconds to go in the first quarter at Busch Stadium.
Think we're going to make it? If this thing does. Well, at least we're flying back in a 747. Aren't we?
Northwest has an all 747 fleet to and from the Far East.
Yeah. Harry, Kalamazoo Tuesday, I can do that. Memphis Wednesday, I can do that. New York Thursday, I can do that. How am I going to do that?
No matter where you do business, Northwest can fly you there.
Buy 10 rolls or more of Owens Corning pink insulation now and get your favorite NFL team jacket free.
Ready to quarterback a scoring drive of your own? Go with NFL Armchair Quarterback, the TV football game that's got everyone playing along with the pros. Call the plays during the game, and if you're right, it'll add up to victory. NFL Armchair Quarterback includes everything you need to play along with any live football game. So don't just be a watcher, be a winner. Get NFL Armchair Quarterback or you'll miss the big game of the season. Available at Kmart, Toys R Us, and other fine stores everywhere.
Batteries can lose some life waiting to be bought. But only new Duracell packs have a freshness date that guarantees they'll live a long life, not a short one. Freshness dating from Duracell.
Jason Starofsky prepares to kick away for the St. Louis Cardinals, who now lead 10-0 over New Orleans with 45 seconds to go in the first quarter. Deep are Michael Adams to the top of the screen and Dwight Beverly to the bottom of the screen. Other way around. This is Adams. Adams is belted as he gets back to the 20-yard line. Number 40 was Don Goodman downfield to make the stop. So the Saints, who have had the football for more than 11 of the 14 minutes played so far, but trail 10-0, will start once again.
Well, they turn the ball over. They take the ball the length of the field. The first series they get it, then they fumble the field goal snap, and St. Louis has made the most of their opportunities.
On that fumbled field goal snap, in case you've just joined us, Mark Jackson, a cornerback for St. Louis, went 77 yards for the touchdown that made it 7-0 Cardinals. This is Beverly. And Beverly, who's had a very busy first quarter and is on pace for a 40-carry game, gets good yardage before Tony Mays of Kentucky makes the stop. Time running out in the first quarter. Beverly now with 10 carries for 51 yards. And it'll be 2nd down 5 for New Orleans.
Good block that time, cutting off the block of Jeff Rodenberger, the fullback there, and then tight ends block Ken O'Neill to try to gain some yards. They're running the ball very well. They just hurt themselves with turnovers and penalties.
Last play of the first quarter, Beverly has a couple of yards. And you look at Gene Stallings, whose St. Louis Cardinals have had the ball for only one possession and lead 10-0 at the end of one.
On Houston nights.
3 nightclub owners in the past 6 weeks.
All at close range. Think maybe we have a pattern?
Nightlife turns into a nightmare of violence. Tuesday.
As the clock winds down, the pitch to Ruben Mays, he goes left, and he's going to take it in the end zone.
That's it. Break for commercial.
Hi, I'm Archie Manning. As a broadcaster for my old team, I've got lots of loyal Saints fans following our games. And like me, they're excited about the Saints' new winning spirit that owner Tom Benson and head coach Jim Moore have brought to the team. When I played, the dream of winning's about all we had. But even back then, I was part of one team that was always a winner, and that was the United Way. I've worked at bringing you United Way stories through those United Way messages. And today, I'm still involved as a United Way volunteer. I know that not everyone can enjoy the Saints games. That's because they can't hear them. There are children preschool tots who must learn to develop their auditory awareness and speech skills before they're 6 years old, or they may never learn to speak. They need specialized training. And you make programs like this possible when you support your United Way. United Way, it brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by AT&T, the right choice. And by Prudential Bates Securities, rock solid, market wise.
Here in St. Louis, a brisk wind has picked up over the top of Busch Stadium, with the stadium entirely enclosed. Now John Fourcade huddles the New Orleans Saints as they prepare to begin the second quarter. The flag blowing in the breeze in the shadow of the Gateway Arch next to the Mississippi River. Third down 3 for the Saints from their 27-yard line. First down as Fourcade throws complete to the third tight end, Ken O'Neill. And Tony Mays made the stop for St. Louis. Dallas off to a hot start today. A touchdown pass from Sweeney, one of the 3 touchdowns in that game. Tampa Bay with the lead over San Diego on a Reeves to Eric Streeter touchdown pass. Miami ahead of Kansas City. The Lions lead Green Bay. First down for the Saints from their 31. Dwight Beverly with his 11th carry of the football game. Charlie Baker made the stop for St. Louis. A couple more scores as you look at Cleveland on top of Houston. And Minnesota and Chicago scoreless in the second quarter.
Keeping the ball on the ground here with Dwight Beverly being the workhorse back behind the big offensive line. And they're moving the ball real well on the ground. They're not getting away from their game plan. Just stay with it. It's only 10-0. Don't do anything that you wouldn't normally do in these situations.
Fourcade pulls it down, gets away from the rush, has another first down, and the ball is out near midfield at the 47-yard line.
That's the thing that can make him very, very effective, is the fact that he will pull the ball down and take off with it. He sees a hole in the middle. If you see right here, he drops back, lets those linebackers take their drops. They push the defensive line to the outside, and you see him take off with it right up the middle. He's not afraid to run the ball. He did this in his college career. He did it up in Canada within the Canadian League, and that's when he is effective, is when he can take off with it.
Got away from Goralczyk, number 76. Noga, number 57, was one of the 2 who finally chased him down. On 2 of those rushes, Fourcade has picked up first downs. Beverly and Rodenberger now the twin setbacks behind Fourcade, who wants to throw down the middle. Eric Martin with the football all the way to the 33-yard line of St. Louis. Tony Mays made the stop. 21-yard pickup.
Real strike. I mean, he really throws a frozen rope out there that time, and it was right on the numbers. Really well thrown ball. When he gets back and gets his feet set and it's not throwing off his back feet, he really throws the ball very well. Little play fake. See him set that back foot right there and cut it loose and throws a strike right in the middle of the 8 and the 4. Eric Martin, LSU player, good receiver, great speed.
Martin, one of the 14 returning, or the 10, I should say, 10 returning regulars playing for the Saints. Had 37 catches last year. First down, Fourcade wants to throw again. Underthrown this time. Quickly now, let's go for an NFL Today report to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, Jim, the Cowboys have handled the ball 3 times with this replacement team, and Buddy Ryan is right. His Eagles are awful. 3 touchdowns for the Cowboys. This one 77 yards to Cornell Burbage. Now let's go back to St. Louis and Jim Lampley.
I guess Buddy would rather have been wrong. Small consolation to be right about that.
Buddy will say what he thinks.
Second down 10 for New Orleans at the 33. And Fourcade in and out of the hands of Mike Waters. Good play that time by Mays. Mays playing in his first year out of Kentucky. One of the replacement players. There is the time of possession statistic And that is just one of various statistics which at this moment will lie to you about what's happening in this game.
Absolutely. They get a big punt return from Sekahima. They get a fumble snap on a field goal for a touchdown. Like I said, the long punt return resulting in 10 points with only 3 minutes of possession.
Maybe the Cardinal offense is better when they don't have the ball. McCade's throw is caught, but out of bounds. Charlie Baker was the man who was right in for Cade's face.
Cade gets shaking his hand there. The guy was right in his face, and that's what they've been doing to him most of the day, is they really haven't gotten to him as far as sacks are concerned, but they get enough pressure on him to make him throw off his back foot, to make him rush things, and that's what's happening now. He threw that ball, just threw that ball away. Line up and start over. Take care of yourself right on this part of the field. Protect the field goal situation. Don't throw the interception.
Now it's 4th down at the 33. A field goal try would have to go 50 yards, and Jim Moore isn't terribly confident about that, nor does he send the punter Tommy Barnhart on. So they're going to go for it.
3 wide receivers.
Interesting call. And suddenly Stacy Dawsey's reputation is tarnished just a little bit.
I think maybe 4K might not be on the same page with him anymore.
So after they fail on 4th and 10, New Orleans gives up the football, and we'll be back.
I'd no sooner settle for a flake in my hair than a spot on my uniform.
You pass the test, you're good grooming. Has the look of success. Your head and shoulders above the rest.
Regular shampoos just rinse flakes. Head and Shoulders goes to the source to help stop flakes.
And that's doing it right.
Your head and shoulders above the rest.
Why is this man breathing like he left his cold at someone else's house? Taking the time to read a book instead of searching for a tissue. Why? Because he took NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
Way I look at it, I've kept my mouth shut long enough.
One bite of steak and you won't open your mouth for ordinary fast food again. New steak fajitas. Real steak, real fast.
Oh, and another thing.
Taco Bell, the only real choice.
The Great American Face. Strong, sensitive. The Great American Razor. Atra Plus. Solid. With the Luber Smooth Strip for extra protection. The Great American Face deserves the Great American Shave. Atra Plus. Only from Gillette.
Monday, join country music's biggest night with Kenny Rogers hosting an all-star lineup. It's entertainment at its best, live from Nashville, the 21st Annual Country Music Awards.
I'm Jim Lampley, along with Kenny the Snake Stabler, as we bring you back to what has been an unusual sight in this football game. St. Louis with the football. Number 19, Sean Halloran, brings the Cardinals out. They had it for 37 minutes last week against the Redskins and have barely seen the pigskin today.
Here's the movement that we talked about earlier. Give them a lot of different looks.
Derek McAdoo goes for at the most a yard, and it will be 2nd down 9 for the Cardinals. Scott Leach on the tackle. You look at Halloran, the man who succeeded Doug Flutie as quarterback at Boston College and suffered through a very difficult 1985, got off to a miserable start in 1986, was replaced by 2 other quarterbacks. They got hurt and then led the Eagles to 9 straight victories. Halloran down the stretch in 86 was brilliant at quarterback for Boston College. Has a good arm, Kenny.
He throws the ball well, but here in St. Louis, when you have Neil Lomax and you've got Cliff Stout, the chances of him remaining with the Cardinals is probably not very good.
Picked off as Leach has the football and gives New Orleans possession at the 39-yard line. Ball was in and out of the hands of the veteran J.T. Smith.
Pretty well well-thrown ball. Sits back in the pocket. He's got the good protection that he needs and turns the ball loose, and it's a well-thrown ball. It's right up in between the 8 and 4 on J.T. Smith, and it's deflected. J.T. Smith has been the prominent receiver in the St. Louis offense during the year, and it's unusual to see him drop that kind of pass.
Credit the big play to cornerback Reggie Sutton, who had the block punt touchdown against the Rams last week and knocked the ball loose from J.T. Smith into Leach's hands on that one. So St. Louis kept the football for 2 plays. New Orleans has it again. That will not be called a fumble. Dwight Beverly again carried for the Saints and got a couple. Mark Goralczyk again tackled for the Cardinals.
It's what the Saints need right here. They turn the ball over to the St. Louis Cardinals. Now the defense comes up with a big turnover, and sometimes that can blow the balloon up for you again, get you going again, get the enthusiasm built up, and a lot of times the defense has to do that for you. They've got to turn the ball over in good field position.
Well, Mora's team had been moving the ball with consistency using the running game. They stalled on the last drive when Fourcade finally threw on first down. Goes on 2nd and long, and it's complete in the flat to Ken O'Neill. O'Neill's 2nd catch of the game. Pickup of about 6. It'll be 3rd down. There is O'Neill, 6 feet 3 inches and 240 pounds, out of Idaho State.
Good blocking tight end. They use a lot of 2 tight end formations, and one of the things you have to have is you have to have a guy that can block. They've got 2 guys that block real well in Malcolm Scott and Ken O'Neill, and Mike Waters is a possession and receiving tight end for this team.
It is 3rd down, 4 yards to go.
Safety.
Waters drops the ball. 2nd time today that Waters has just flat dropped it as Tony Mays was covering. Fourcade did a good job reading the strong safety blitz.
We said they would bring their safety to the bottom of your screen. You see number 45, Leonard Smith, and they break number 88 underneath Mike Waters to get the ball, and he, like we said, he is the receiving end of their tight end core, and pretty well thrown pass. Good job on Fourcade's part of reading the safety blitz and getting rid of the ball.
Well, they're going to go for it on 4th down again in just about the same position. Leonard Smith again lines up on the line of scrimmage and comes again. And this time says hello to Fourcade before Fourcade can release the ball.
They've done that very thing all last 3 plays. Leonard Smith very good dogging safety, and they lined up in this situation the last 3 times. You see it on the top of your bottom of your screen. Here he comes right there. Leonard Smith getting Fourcade for the sack, putting a lot of pressure, nobody to block him.
So St. Louis will again have the football, this time at its 39-yard line. Cardinals lead it 10-0.
300. You know what I did today? I tried to punch out a telephone at the airport. My plane was late, and I wanted to let my secretary know. It's high noon in the office. Nobody's picking up. So I started to count the rings. I get up to 25. Finally, I get some guy in the lobby. Is Ada there? I had no idea. Can he transfer me? Well, he's not sure, but he'll give it a try. Silence. More silence. Then I hear a little click. I know I'm cut off.
Hello?
I wanted to kill that phone with my bare hands. What if I'd been a client? And that's when I decide, never again. No more hit or miss. From now on, we're going to go with a system we can trust. One that handles every call, every message like it's worth $1 million. We're a service business. We get paid for our brains. We can't afford a communication system that makes it look like we haven't got any.
Okay, honey.
Can you tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes?
Hang in there, honey.
Well, some people feel a little sluggish if they're not eating a balanced diet.
Oh, boy, am I sluggish.
Kellogg's are the only bran flakes with fiber and a full day supply of iron to help balance your diet. And that's one great way to help fight that sluggish feeling. So maybe you can tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes.
Great shot, honey.
And who has. Kellogg's bran flakes, the fiber and iron cereal.
See defending national champion Penn State try to derail undefeated Syracuse. Or second-ranked Nebraska battle Big 8 nemesis Oklahoma State next Saturday on CBS Sports.
On first down for the St. Louis Cardinals from the 39-yard line, Sean Halloran calls the signals. The Cardinals so far have totaled 16 offensive yards in the game. This time they start off with an effective running play as Earl Farrell.
31, Earl Farrell.
Takes it for about 9 yards before Antonio Gibson made the stop. Farrell off to the best start of his career as he has suddenly become the main man in the Cardinal running game.
Yeah, Bill, workhorse in that backfield. Last year in receiving, there was only 2 players in the NFL that had more receptions, and that was Herschel Walker. Roger Craig was not too bad players.
2 running backs.
2 running backs, yes.
Yeah. It's all right. Thank you. 2nd and 1 after the 9-yard gain. Farrell carried it 27 times last week. This time it's McAdoo, and McAdoo has the first down and is across midfield to the Saints 47.
In behind Ray Brown. Here you see him in behind Keith Radisick, Lance Smith, Tom Welch, and the big offensive lineman Ray Brown, 6'5", 280, pushing people off the ball.
Offensive line has started to come off the ball for St. Louis on those 2 plays. McAdoo again breaks a tackle and gets it to about the 45. Antonio Gibson again along with Bill Rowe there to make the stop for St. Louis. Or for New Orleans, I should say. 9 minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter. Cardinals lead 10-0.
2nd and 8. The Saints 45.
A moderate crowd at best. Not as embarrassingly small as some of those around the league a week ago. But there will not be as many as 10,000 here. Probably more like 5 or 6. Halloran overthrows on 2nd down, and now the Cardinals will have 3rd down and long.
Came out with a spread-type formation then, and they got a zone defense. People just backing off in the zones. They tried to get a hook situation in between the 2 safeties, just overthrown by Halloran. Halloran hasn't really thrown the ball very well. Hasn't thrown the ball that much, but the time he has thrown the ball, he hasn't really thrown the ball very accurately.
He threw it a lot last week as they fell behind the Redskins and had to play catch-up football most of the way. Now with 3rd and 8, the Saints are in the nickel. And that throw was a little bit behind the intended receiver. Ron Brown was the man whom Halloran was trying to hit. Gene Atkins was there to cover.
Trying to bring him underneath and get him to run for the 1st down because they threw the ball underneath the yard marker, which I've never been in agreement with. I think if you have 7 or 8 yards to go, that you throw the ball 7, 8, 9 yards down the field. Throw the ball past the yard marker.
Well, a week ago, they were driving at the end of the football game and had 1 play from deep in Redskin territory, and he threw a swing pass to Sikahema short of the end zone. J.T. Smith said after the game, you got to throw it in the end zone.
You got to throw the ball past the marker or in the end zone when you're inside the 10-yard line. Throw the ball down in there. Throw it in. If you're going to take the chance of putting the ball in the air, then get something out of it. Get the 1st down or get a touchdown.
4th down. 4th down now and 7 yards to go. The Cardinals may have just set a league record for huddling farthest away from the ball in history. No, that's just that the officials didn't move it. Now they do. Eric Morton deep to receive for New Orleans. And Greg Cater, the regular punter, across the picket line, hits it away for St. Louis. Good kick. Martin calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 15-yard line, and there's a scuffle at midfield. These 2 New Orleans players were tangled up with Derek McAdoo, and McAdoo, who's a scrappy little guy and has gotten into a variety of scuffles at workouts for the Cardinals, let them up. It's 10-0 St. Louis. We'll be back.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring.
Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
I'm Jim Lapley, along with Kenny the Snake Stabler. We're back in St. Louis, where the Cardinals lead New Orleans 10-0 in a game dominated offensively by New Orleans. St. Louis scored its first quarter touchdown of 1987 on a long return of a botched field goal attempt. Dwight Beverly of the Saints has 58 yards rushing, and really just 2 big plays for the Cardinals are the difference in the ballgame.
Yeah, the time of possession is way out of hand in the Saints' favor, but they made the most of the turnovers. They get a botched field goal holder fumbles the ball, they go for touchdown. Sikahema brings a punt return back 40 or 50 yards, they get 3 out of that. So that's the 2 big plays in the game.
And now New Orleans has the football again at its 15-yard line. And again, John Forcade, the shining star of last week's big win over the Rams, will try to get them moving and completes a first down pass to Eric Martin that will move it out to the 26-yard line.
Forcade's limping around. He got banged up a little bit, and a guy that plays the way that Forcade does is going to get knocked around a lot. He's going to have to fight some little nagging injuries because he runs with the ball so much. Plays hard, but he's always moving around in and out of the pocket. He's going to get knocked around, but that's his style of play, and he seems to like that.
Well, the backup quarterback, if Forcade were to go down, is Kevin Ingram out of East Carolina, who's under 6 feet tall and weighs 178 pounds. Beverly on first down for New Orleans gets it across the 30 to 32, and now Forcade is down and suddenly looks indeed as though he is legitimately injured and might not be able to go on. Trainers come on the field for New Orleans, and this is a bad moment for the Saints.
He looks like when he came out that time, Jim, he looked like he tripped himself. And on artificial turf, you can get your feet caught in that artificial turf with those cleats, and something has to give. An ankle, maybe a knee, and it's easy to do that when you're on the move, play faking, dropping back, and sitting up. It's easy to, something has to go.
Forcade is 16 of 22 for 222 yards.
Here's an end zone shot of it. He comes out and gives a little play fake, hands the ball off, and it looks like he gets his toe caught in the artificial turf, and the only thing that can give has to be a joint, has to be an ankle or a knee. In this case, it's hard to say. Looks like hopefully it's not a knee.
Well, that means that Kevin Ingram, 6 feet, 178 pounds, from East Carolina University, former player with the Edmonton team in the Canadian Football League for 1 year in 1984, comes on to play quarterback. And Ingram gives on second down to Dwight Beverly, who has been the dominant figure in the game offensively, and Beverly is met by Gary Doolin and Mark Goralczyk after a pickup of about 3, and he's gotten it close to the chain, so it'll be third down, very short yardage now for the Saints.
Well, we'll see if they limit what the new young quarterback can do, Kevin Ingram. I'm sure that he's gotten plenty of work in practice and probably has a decent grasp on the offense. Talking to Jim Morrow, they've limited the offense because of the inexperienced players, but it's a great opportunity to come in and show what he can do.
Ingram's family runs a little business, and he was working in that when he was contacted by the Saints. Number 34 with the football is Jeff Rodenberger, and Rodenberger appeared to get the first down before he was met by Tony Mays.
Looks like the quarterback that time, Kevin Ingram, had a little bit of trouble with the center snap, and that's something you can look for too. The inexperienced quarterback, inexperienced centers, and they come in, they haven't worked together that much, especially a second-team quarterback working with a first-team center. There's Forcade, you see him on the sideline. Hopefully it's not anything seriously, but that artificial turf can cause some problems without even getting hit.
Is unable to release the ball. It is picked up by Leonard Smith. Touchdown.
Well, you get a little bit of an inexperienced quarterback who gets flushed out of there, and he tries to make something happen when maybe he should just throw the ball away, or if he didn't have time to do that, just eat the ball. Just take your down right there and get up and start over. Here's what we're talking about right here. Leonard Smith makes a great play, but he's in trouble right here. Just eat the ball right there. Take the sack. Try to run for whatever you can get, but don't try to throw the ball off balance like that. As a result, here's what happens.
It was Geralchik who met Ingram and brought him down. Ingram's arm was in motion as he was trying to release the ball, but it was not forward motion. It was really in motion down toward the turf. The ball came out of his hand before he hit, and Smith got a gift touchdown. Now Starosky will try to make it 17-zip, and again, the Cardinal offense is better when they're on the sideline.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Saints scoring all the Cardinal points.
So Starosky nails that. 5 minutes, 42 seconds to go until halftime. All 17 Cardinal points, the product of special teams play or mistakes by the Saints. Leonard Smith's touchdown went for 29 yards on the recovery. And we get ready now to talk about college football, as next Saturday, the number 2 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers will be taking on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was ranked 19th this past week and may move up after their 46-17 win over Colorado yesterday. That'll be live at 2:30 Eastern Time at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And, of course, Nebraska's Steve Taylor has emerged this year as a potential Heisman Trophy candidate with brilliant performances in the option offense of the Cornhuskers early in the season. There's a look at John Furcade along the sideline.
Looks like that ice bag they have on him, Jim, is on his right knee, on the right-hand side of his knee, and it's right along that ligament there. It could be a stretch-type ligament or maybe it may be just a deep bruise or something, but it doesn't look like it's in a very good place.
Don't know that he needs the ice bag today. It's pretty cold up here. Let him come stand in this booth if he wants to get cold. Michael Adams and Dwight Beverly are deep for New Orleans as Starosky prepares to kick it for St. Louis. This is Beverly. A little bit of a hole for a moment. Dropped at the 27-yard line. Terrence Mack down to make the stop for St. Louis. Let's take a look briefly now to recap the New Orleans turnovers and miscues and what has happened as a result of them. Fumble on the field goal attempt, touchdown, 77-yard run by Mark Jackson. Fumble again by Ingram on his first pass attempt, touchdown, 29-yard run by Leonard Smith. Both fumbles by Ingram, incidentally, as he was the holder on the field goal attempt.
Resulted in big points, and there's where the 17 points come in. Fumbles and big play on special teams by the Cardinals.
The number 3 quarterback is Tommy Barnhart, the punter. So Ingram is going to have to go, and now Beverly breaks free. And gets about 17 yards up to the 43-yard line.
Beverly's been the workhorse today. A good receiver coming out of the backfield has been the workhorse carrying the ball.
16 carries for 82 yards for Dwight Beverly.
Here's the instant replay. It's just a plain vanilla block, and you see the big offensive lines. You get James Kaplan, Henry Thomas, 6'2", 275. Ken Kaplan, the right tackle, 71. You run him out of bounds, and Dwight Beverly looks good. He has a chance to make this team. He's a workhorse back. Good runs, good inside, and that good outside back, too.
Inside and a pickup of about 5. Geralchik with another stop for St. Louis.
Keep things simple. They've got very inexperienced quarterbacks. They've gone to their third-team quarterback, and they can't do anything fancy with those type people playing quarterback, and they're not doing it. They're going to have to rely on the offensive line to knock them off the ball and maintain control of the ball on offense on the ground.
Furcade, we are told, has a twisted knee, is not going to return this half. It would appear unlikely to be able to make it back in the game. Leonard Smith up on the line of scrimmage, blitzing again, and that time the Saints had the inside running play. They were able to go right by Smith.
They put Leonard Smith up on the line that can serve 2 purposes, Jim. They can put him up there, and he can rush the passer on a safety dog. He can also get up there and help support on the run. He plays like a linebacker. They use him a lot of different ways. A lot of people think that he'll have his best year this year. He's off to a great start so far.
similar to Jeff Fuller of the 49ers.
Big, strong linebacker type.
Pick up of 4 yards by Rodenberger on second down, and now you've got a timeout called by New Orleans. So Ingram goes to the sideline to talk with Jim Mora, and Mora is only mildly disgruntled over the timeout this time. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals and the National Football League is prohibited. There's the situation. 4:12 to go before halftime. 17-0 St. Louis. Cardinals still have all of their timeouts. All 17 points, the product of special teams play or mistakes by the Saints.
And it brings up a situation that we touched on earlier. They've used 2 timeouts that they probably shouldn't have used during the course of the first half, and now they've got 4 minutes to go approximately 50 yards, and the thing a quarterback needs most in this situation is the ability to control the clock through timeouts and throwing the ball on the outside to get out of bounds. They've used 2 timeouts. The first one they called down in, the defense call when they were backed up, and that's what had Jim Moore, the coach there, you see, had him so upset. You can't waste those timeouts, especially when you're behind.
Down and less than a yard to go. 3 tight ends in the game, and Rodenberger has first down yardage for the Saints. Ken Sims made the stop from a cornerback position for St. Louis. Philadelphia got on the board against Dallas. It's 21-3 in the second quarter. Tampa Bay still leading over San Diego on the Reeves to Eric Streeter touchdown pass. Miami ahead of Kansas City, 7-0. Green Bay and Detroit tied up. Pair of field goals. New England on top of Buffalo, 7-0. And Houston leading Cleveland 7-3. Ingram almost falls down, gets away from Goralczyk, and has a pickup of about 4 yards before Sims ran him out of bounds.
Looked like it was probably a design play. Fake the toss. Look like a design play. You fake the toss and try to get the pursuit going with him and then try to get outside. You see him here. He'll turn, fake the toss to his right and keep the ball and try to get outside of number 76, Mark Goralczyk. Gets out of bounds, which smart enough to understand it. We got only a little bit of time to use going in down here, so get out of bounds and conserve your time.
Goralczyk, a rookie out of Western Michigan who had made the team in preseason and crossed the picket line on Tuesday, September 22, already has about a half dozen tackles here in the first half. Ingram running the option offense, gets another first down for New Orleans.
Nice play. Looks like he's maybe run the triple option before.
Well, East Carolina's an option team.
This is one of my favorite plays when I was playing. I used to run this triple option. Here you fake the fullback in here and you try to read the pitch man. You see Jackson coming up, takes the pitch man. He keeps the ball, dives inside there for the first down. I used to love to run that against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I didn't know that Foley High School played the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
First down at the 31-yard line. Kevin Ingram and the East Carolina Pirates make it the New Orleans Saints on this day. There he goes again. Good pitch.
Beverly.
Flag down as Beverly's dragged out of bounds.
Don't get a break here, or maybe a face mask or something to get them down in there. They've got the clock stopped. Young quarterback needs to remember we don't want to throw an interception down here. Protect the field goal. They say the hardest points to score in a game were the first ones. They need to get on the board.
5-yard face mask, number 25. It'll still be second down. First down.
Now, you know what's kind of interesting here, Kenny? You've got the officials on the field who are used to calling a particular kind of football game, pro-style offense. All of their movements, all of their patterns are predicated by that kind of game.
Good point.
And now here's a team out here running
a triple option.
How are they going to know how to get in position to make these calls?
The old triple option. I don't really think they'll have to get used to it. I don't foresee an awful lot of teams using this one.
It is first down now and 4 yards to go from the 25-yard line. Straight handoff this time to Beverly, and he moves it down close to the 20. Gary Doolin on the stop for St. Louis. For the moment, New Orleans has dispensed with the passing game.
gone to the triple option with a little triple option quarterback, and it's been successful. They've picked up a substantial amount of yards here with running off tackle with Beverly, controlling the ball, then putting the ball in Beverly's stomach, pulling it out, going down the line, and reading the pitch guy and pitching out. It's been an effective series of downs.
Well, Mora is nothing if not flexible. 2-minute warning coming up, and there it is. This is a man who built a team from scratch in the USFL, the Philly Stars, later the Baltimore Stars, and dominated that league. He trails 17-0 here, though. We'll be back. As we return to St. Louis, you have a look at the man who left his post as an assistant to Tom Landry in Dallas to take over this Cardinal franchise. We've talked a lot about Jim Mora, but Gene Stallings could really benefit from a victory today.
You bet he could. He's a defensive coach, has been a defensive coach all of his life, and with guys like Leonard Smith, to go with him, they need an impact player. He said he would like to have a big guy to rush the passer, would also like to have an impact player, a big linebacker, such as a Cornelius Bennett or a Lawrence Taylor. I know those guys are hard to find. You can't find them on every corner, but that's what he's looking for.
Well, he's got E.J. Jr., a 2-time Pro Bowler, and there you look at Leonard Smith, who was the Pro Bowl alternate last year. We'll take a look at a rundown of Gene Stallings' career. Head coach of the Cardinals, before that assistant coach for Dallas. You played against his team when he was at Texas A&M.
Played against his team in the Cotton Bowl, 1968 Cotton Bowl in Dallas, and we were about a 2-touchdown favorite, and they came out and they beat us. Coach Brown's pupil beat him.
Didn't Gene Stallings participate in the recruitment of one Kenny Stabler?
Gene Stallings participated in that recruitment when I went up to Alabama in my freshman year in 1964. Gene Stallings was a defensive coordinator, and like I said, he's been a defensive coach, defensive coordinator everywhere he's been. He's a very bright man, very knowledgeable defensive coach. He just needs some players.
Of course, the whole state of Alabama, all of area code 205 was involved in the question of where you'd go to school.
Oh, yeah, it ranged from state to state.
On first down for the Saints from the 21-yard line, Kevin Ingram gives to Beverly, and Beverly goes up the middle for about 5. Beverly now has carried the ball 20 times for 97 yards in the first half.
Well, if they're going to get it done, that's the way they have to get it done, especially with Forcade being out now. They've got the 2 inexperienced quarterbacks that they're using. Ingram right now is inexperienced. They're going to the triple option. In the triple option scheme, then Beverly's going to carry the ball a lot, and the quarterback's going to option the ball a lot. But Beverly's been the workhorse today.
How many times do you suppose you'd see a guy carry 20 times for 97 yards and a half in the NFL and his team be behind 17-0? Won't happen very often. That was Rodenberger with the football, and he's close to a first down.
They've got 2 big, strong backs back there, and what they're doing is they're giving it to Rodenberger straight up the middle, and then they're faking to Rodenberger and handing off to Beverly. Then they're running the option off of it. They're not going to throw the ball because of the quarterback that they have in there now. Down in here, they could expect some man-to-man coverage if they're going to throw the ball on this part of the field. They should also be careful of safety dogs coming if they decide to throw.
Timeout now for the Saints, stopping the clock with 50 seconds to go. Interesting time to call the timeout. They had already come out of the huddle, apparently, with a play. The ball is marked a half yard short of a first down, so it's going to be third and just a little less than a yard when the Saints come back out to run the play. Coming up at halftime, we'll be going back to the New York studio, where Brent's guest today is Terry Bradshaw. Brent and Irv will be with Bradshaw in the studio. Will McDonough will be providing a strike update. We await news of what has happened in Washington today, where strike talks have apparently broken off once again.
Well, Jim Mora's got his group gathered up over there, and he's already talked to Ingram and sent him back in. And I'm sure he's given him some definite instructions as far as what to do. The importance right here, the points right here are awfully important. They've turned the ball over. They've had a big special teams play against them, resulting in a total of 17 points. The points on the board right here would be awfully helpful.
3rd and a half yard. You going to run the middle or run the option, Kenny? Great outside.
Great play.
Tremendous spin move by Dwight Beverly to pick up the first down.
Just great second effort.
And now the Saints go with no huddle.
Well, there's those timeouts that you're missing.
Yeah, they've used them all now. And that helps because that stops the clock. Geralchik who's played the big first half for St. Louis, that time provided a huge favor for New Orleans.
They do get a big break there. With only 28 seconds left, you have to try to hurry things up, and the penalty gives him time to stop the clock, gives Jim Mora time to get over and get a play that he wants and get it in. Goralczyk gives him a big break right there. Now he doesn't have to be in any kind of hurry. He's got the clock stopped. Get up there and take a look and do what you need to do.
This could be a critical sequence in the game because the Saints have established that they can dominate the line of scrimmage. A touchdown would give them something to feel good about at halftime. Ingram overthrows Waters.
Well, he threw the ball where he had to throw the ball. I think a better pass, of course, would have been complete. But if you're going to throw that ball back in the corner of the end zone, throw it where only your receiver can catch it. If not, it goes out of bounds. Stop the clock, line up, and go again.
That's right. If it's not going to be your receiver, pick out the guy up in the fourth row in the end zone seats.
Throw it in the nickel seats and line up and go again. They get a spread formation this time. A little bit more of a spread formation with a wing guy. To keep his feet in bounds. He gets both feet in bounds, and the ball was thrown right on time and thrown in a very good spot. Like we talked about earlier, you see him set up here, throws the ball where only one person can catch it, and that's the receiver. It's thrown in the back of the end zone. Eric Martin does a great job of getting up for the ball, getting down with both feet in. Great, nice play.
Terrific job with the feet. It was Mark Jackson, the man who scored the first touchdown of the game, who was there on the coverage for St. Louis, and not beaten all that badly.
Nope. What goes around comes around.
Where'd you hear that? Country song somewhere?
Yeah, on the jukebox.
The jukebox of life. Number 4, Mike Kofer, prepares to try to add the extra point for New Orleans. Eric Martin has given the Saints something to feel good about going to halftime, trailing 17-7 in a game in which they have moved the ball up and down the field, but been victimized by their own mistakes.
Their offensive line is dominated. They've been able to run the ball very well. They've been able to pass protect their quarterbacks. They've run a trick. That can be a big play right there.
And they've had an extra point block now, as it was Victor Burnett, number 69 out of Fresno State, who put his hands on the ball. Well, the public address announcer here is crediting Leonard Smith, but we believe it may have been Burnett, 69. Let's take a look. Yeah, it was Burnett. 69.
Well, when Jim Mora gets them back to New Orleans, I think they'll do a little special teams work. Sakahima does it to them with a long punt return. Their holder fumbles the snap, and now they get an extra point block. And special teams is more ways to lose on special teams than any other way.
Would it follow that there are more ways to win than any other way on special teams?
It would follow, but in this case, if you're a New Orleans Saint, there's more ways to lose.
Well, there are now 18 seconds remaining in the half. 17-6. Mora shaking his head and thinking of the vagaries of a sport which has experienced one of its most topsy-turvy seasons ever this year. Interesting that both Mora and Stallings told us that they had not tried to maintain lines of communication to the players who are out on the picket line.
I think they're both under the impression that if one comes in, they want all of them to come in, or all of them stay out, stay together, be a group, and work out together. But they have, like you said, they have not talked to any of the players outside of the strike line.
Roderick Sargent was the man who picked up the short kick for the Cardinals, and now the clock stops as the Cardinal offense and the Saints defense come onto the field.
You see those squib kicks like that with less than 20 seconds, 15 seconds or so left. They'll just squib kick the ball down through the blocker, so they disrupt all the blocking schemes to try to disrupt any type of return, to stay away from a big return late in the first half.
Sean Halloran has had an ineffective first half throwing the football. This time he very effectively gets down to one knee, and that will bring an end to the first half's proceedings. The St. Louis Cardinals are on top in the football game as the result of mistakes by New Orleans and the Cardinals' ability to take advantage.
Well, he's got his work cut out. Go in and get them revamped, regroup them, and come back out and see what they can do. Cut down some mistakes.
So that's the end of the first half with the score. The St. Louis Cardinals 17 and the New Orleans Saints 6.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Liberty Mutual for your personal insurance, business insurance, and financial service needs. And by Taco Bell. Say hello to the great taste of...
Opportunity last week to win the game with a little swing pass and unfortunately dropped the ball, but you don't see that much out of him. Good pass receiver.
Picks up the first down, and the flag flies as he is tackled across the 40-yard line. Antonio Gibson on the stop. Freddie Wyatt.
Holding, number 89, second down.
So erased the first down, and now the ball will be moved back after the holding call against tight end William Harris.
They start out, as we said, running the ball, trying to establish that ground game because they haven't been able to throw the ball very successfully. But this situation right here with the penalties puts you in those obvious passing down situations. Not that you have to throw the ball on second and long. You can run and try to get your first down with 2 plays. But anytime you penalize yourself, it gives the defense a break. They lay their ears back and come after a quarterback, makes it awfully tough.
Coming into this week, the Cardinal offense led the National Football League with an average of 410 yards per game. Then they got 30 in the first half. Halloran throws and a 1.
Football League is sponsored by Liberty Mutual for your personal insurance, business insurance, and financial service needs. And by Taco Bell. Say hello to the great taste of...
Opportunity last week to win the game with a little swing pass and unfortunately dropped the ball, but you don't see that much out of him. Good pass receiver.
Picks up the first down, and the flag flies as he is tackled across the 40-yard line. Antonio Gibson on the stop. Freddie Wyatt.
Holding, number 89, second down.
So erased the first down, and now the ball will be moved back after the holding call against tight end William Harris.
They start out, as we said, running the ball, trying to establish that ground game because they haven't been able to throw the ball very successfully. But this situation right here with the penalties puts you in those obvious passing down situations. Not that you have to throw the ball on second and long. You can run and try to get your first down with 2 plays. But anytime you penalize yourself, it gives the defense a break. They lay their ears back and come after a quarterback, makes it awfully tough.
Coming into this week, the Cardinal offense led the National Football League with an average of 410 yards per game. Then they got 30 in the first half. Halloran throws and a one-handed catch by J.T. Smith.
Halloran is really not throwing the ball very accurately at all. Everything he's thrown is bounced off of people. He's been late getting the thing away, but this guy right here makes some great catches. Ex-punt returner for Kansas City, new lease on life with the St. Louis Cardinals. Caught an awful lot of passes. You see him breaking across the middle right here, and just makes a great catch. Adjusts the ball, makes a one-handed catch, brings it down. Great catch. That's why he's caught so many, huh?
Not all of them were that poorly thrown. There are the numbers on J.T. Smith in the past several seasons. And as you said, a brand new lease on life when he became a Cardinal. Sack for New Orleans as number 69, Patrick Swoops, got across the line of scrimmage and picked up Halloran as he tried to move up in the pocket. And that will make it 4th down and bring on a punting situation for the Cardinals. So once again, St. Louis is unable to move it on offense. This time the drive partially killed by the holding penalty against William Harris. And Greg Cater will punt it away for Gene Stallings' team.
It's a good thing Gene Stallings is a defensive coach. His offense is not going too well right now. The offensive coordinator is Jim Schaffner. Talking to Jim Schaffner yesterday, they said that they were going to keep things as simple as possible for this team.
Eric Martin begins to bring it back for New Orleans and gets across the 50 to the 49-yard line. William Harris made the stop, but Cater with the low and short punt, Martin with the good return. New Orleans has excellent field position to begin its first possession of the half.
My brother used to have remotes all over the place.
They were everywhere.
A TV remote, a cable remote, a VCR remote. Yeah. My brother was very confused.
I was very confused. I don't even know how to work this.
Then my brother bought a Magnavox TV with this amazing new remote. And Magnavox invented it. It's 3 remotes in one. It controls the Magnavox TV it came with and just about any other brand of wireless cable and VCR. So my brother's not confused anymore.
Yeah, and neither am I.
That's right.
In Canada, the rapids run a little stronger. Some people say you can taste it in the beer. Molson Golden. Molson is Canadian beer.
The great American face, rugged, distinctive. The great American razor, Atra, solid, pivots for closeness. The great American face deserves the great American shave, Atra, only from Gillette.
If you could ask
For a truck that'll make you wonder how you ever got along without it. Toyota Standard Bed. The one that sets the standard for compact trucks with the biggest standard payload in its class. And the solid value that makes Toyota #1 in compact truck sales. Don't compromise. Don't settle for less than Toyota quality. Now who's looking out for #1?
Toyota. Toyota. Who could ask for anything more?
The New Orleans Saints bring John Forcade back onto the field at quarterback as they start with their first possession from the 49-yard line of St. Louis. 12:27 to go in the third quarter. Forcade, who went out in the second quarter with a sprained knee, comes back on.
His ability to move around is one of his big assets. We'll see how this affects him with the knee injury.
Dwight Beverly carried the ball 20 times in the first half. And that was actually his 22nd carry. And there they are, Scab Fans, as they call themselves, with Scab Fan bags.
It's a Scab Fan bag. That's a hot selling item around the country.
Last week's attendance cumulatively in the NFL, 256,000, and just a few comparative stats. Every 13 minutes and 25 seconds,
yeah, these
the
are
nation's
stats
largest fast food chain sells that many burgers.
These are stats that all NFL teams keep handy to pass on.
Or they will anyway. Beverly with his 23rd carry of the game, and this time Charlie Baker is there to stop him. Cardinals are beginning to catch on to Beverly.
Well, it's all they've been doing. It's all they've been able to do. John Forcade had some things going early in the game, was scrambling around, running with the ball, throwing the ball. And the only guy they've had working for them is Beverly. Their quarterback turned the ball. Their second team quarterback turned the ball over. They ran a triple option there in the second quarter to try to move the ball, and they've been hampered by Forcade's injury.
Now, how easily will Forcade be able to get back in the pocket and set up on that gimpy knee?
It'll be awfully important to see how this is going to affect him, because like we said earlier, one of his assets is his mobility, and he looks like he's moving pretty well now.
Good throw. Waters with his third drop of the game.
He's the receiving guy of that tandem, too. That triple tight end set. They have Malcolm Scott, Ken O'Neill, and Mike Waters, and Mike Waters is supposedly the best receiver of that group. Forcade's still limping a little bit, but what you see right here is he comes out and he gives a little bit of a play fake, and you try to get Waters back in behind those linebackers, and that's where he is right there. Well thrown ball. You see Baker, the linebacker, chasing, just drops the ball.
Well, Jim Mora told us yesterday that Waters was one of the players who might be able to make the team when the regulars come back, but he certainly hasn't helped himself today with 3 drops. Tommy Barnhart punts it away now. High kick, angling toward the sideline. Sekahima lets it bounce.
Nice play.
And the ball will be dead at the 1-yard line. Flag down. Called out a 49-yard punt. Reggie Sutton was the man downfield to down it.
49-yard play.
And now we await referee Freddie Wyant's report on the penalty flag.
Holding number 39, first down.
So Broderick Sargent is called for the hold. The penalty will be declined. St. Louis will have it at their 1 when we come back.
We're not a company, but outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
You get
all you do. Don't settle for less from your shampoo. Wash and go, Pert Plus.
Ordinary shampoo can't give you this kind of manageability. You need Pert Plus with a unique combination of effective shampoo for cleaning plus conditioner for control all in one. For great, easy-to-manage hair, it's one of a kind.
One shampoo does it all for you. Wash and go.
With shampoo, conditioner in one.
Pert Plus.
Zestfully clean. Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Do I look clean to you? Surprise. I'm not fully clean unless I'm zestfully clean. Soap leaves a sticky film on you that won't rinse away, but Zest rinses you fully clean.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
A doubleheader day of NFL replacement games continues as the Washington Redskins battle the New York Giants. Coming up next on CBS Sports.
The way I see it, the Cardinals have about 3 inches of breathing space there.
All kind of room. Thought process that you go through back here, Jim, would probably be that you don't want to call anything that will get you in trouble, like pulling guards or pitches or anything where you have to toss the ball. You have to get the ball out to at least the 5-7 yard line to give your punter room where he can get out and punt the ball. You just have to get some kind of room out there, and you have to do it with a very limited play selection.
I don't think Farrell got anything on that play. Maybe he fell forward for a yard. It will be second down. Tackled by Ken Marchiol of New Orleans. And they give him credit for about 1.5 yards, so that was actually an effective play.
Need a couple more of those if they're going to get what they need.
This is McAdoo with the football. Antonio Gibson trying to wrestle it away from McAdoo. He says, I've got it, and the officials say, no, you didn't.
Saint defense very, very tough up the middle.
McAdoo the ball carrier.
Off the corners is the place to go out here. Come off the tackles, off the tight ends block, and try to get outside somewhat. Not an outside running play, but off the corners, off the tackles, inside the guard and tackle areas.
Well, if you'd been in the living room for all but 3 plays in this game, you'd swear that the Saints are winning it.
You'd be right on top of it if you caught 3 plays. Of course, they've been turnovers by the New Orleans team that's hurt them, and one big special play by Sikahema.
Now it is 3rd down 9. McAdoo gets close to first down yardage before Patrick Swoops made the tackle for New Orleans. This will depend on where they mark the ball.
That's the place to try to get the ball out, off those corners where you can get out there and cut off some blocks and gain some yards. Try to get out and give your punter room, maybe pick up the first down. Up the middle as they were doing won't quite get it done.
Now they move the mark back in back of the 10-yard line, and that'll make it 4th down. And that drew a huge roar from the crowd. Well, no, maybe it wasn't a huge roar.
Did this group make a huge roar?
Not by huge roar standards in the NFL.
Not as huge roars go.
No. Maybe if we put them in a small discotheque, it could make a huge roar by discotheque standards.
Phone booth sounds. Well, they accomplished what they needed to. They did get the ball out and give their punter some room, but then their punter really doesn't hit the ball very good, and they're still going to give up some field position.
That's right. Cater hit a short punt. Martin made the fair catch. The Saints will have the football inside the St. Louis 40-yard line when we come back. Next Saturday's college football action on CBS Sports presents the number 2 ranked Cornhuskers of Nebraska against the 19th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys and Thurman Thomas, their outstanding running back. That'll be at Lewis Field in Stillwater, Oklahoma. You'll see it here on CBS Sports live at 2:30 Eastern Time. 8 minutes, 49 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. After a 29-yard Greg Cater punt, the Saints have the ball at the 39 of St. Louis. And on first down, John Furcade hits Eric Martin, and Martin is down to the 25-yard line before Ken Sims makes the stop on him. Good throw by Forcade.
Forcade gets set and throws a real strike. They're giving Eric Martin a lot of room. Look how far the defensive back at the top of your screen is off of him, and they'll take this every time they can get it. Forcade gives a little half sprint out to the other side. Eric Martin goes down about 7 yards and just turns and gets the ball, and then he tries to run for the first down or run for whatever he can get. And they give you that much room on the outside, you got to take it.
14-yard pickup. Dwight Beverly with the football. And Beverly has a gain of about 3 down near the 20 before Curtis Greer comes over to help knock him out of bounds. Other scores from around this second replacement football weekend in the National Football League. Dallas leads Philadelphia 27-10 at the half. Tampa Bay still on the Reeves to Streeter touchdown, 7-3. Miami 21-0 over Kansas City in the third quarter. Green Bay with a field goal to go ahead of Detroit. New England 14-0 over Buffalo in the third. Houston 7-3 over Cleveland. Beverly gets close to the 20 on his 25th carry of the game. Beverly is over 100 yards now at 25 carries for 103 yards.
Yeah, he's been the workhorse like we said earlier. Leonard Smith makes the play or comes up to help to make the play. And last time the Saints were down on this position on the field, they brought Leonard Smith, the strong safety, number 45. They put him up there to help on the run support because the Saints are running the ball down here. They also put him up there. The Saints drop back to pass, then he comes. This time he's back off.
Third down 5, and now flags will fly as play is stopped before the snap of the football. Forcade races over to the sideline to talk very quickly with Jim Mora. And apparently before the flag, the Cardinals had motioned for a timeout. So there'll be no penalty, just a timeout charge to St. Louis. And we'll stay right here as the Saints try to get back in the football game, trailing 17-6. Forcade comes back on, and listen to this, Kenny. 32,113 showed up in Soldier Field for replacement football between the Bears and the Vikings.
32,000 diehards. John Forcade over the sideline getting his head together over there trying to figure out what they can do here. Last time they were down on this part of the field, they were stopped by Leonard Smith coming on a safety dog. It rushed Forcade, sacked him one time, rushed him, and the play before the series prior to this, they had a dropped pass by the tight end, Mike Waters. They've been trying to get the ball to their tight ends down here. I think this would be a good time to try to get the ball to the tight ends. Maybe down the middle, if you can get them in a double zone type thing down in here, I think the tight end would be a good receiver.
Well, Waters has dropped 3 today. Does a quarterback begin to lose confidence in a receiver?
I don't think you can lose confidence in him, Jim. I think you have to stay with him. The way you break a receiver's confidence is when you do get off of him, is when you stay away from him. Just keep throwing the ball at him. They'll catch it. There goes the tight end, right down the middle.
And Forcade jumps and throws the football.
They did try to get the tight end down the middle.
Number 80, Stacy Dawsey, was the man who made the catch over the middle on a kind of a little delayed routine.
Here you see Leonard Smith lined up outside. He's been bringing him and dogging him, but this time he just lines up and plays man-to-man coverage on Stacy Dawsey. There's the bump prior to the ball being thrown for the flag. Tried to get him underneath, running across, crossing patterns down inside the 10, 12, 15-yard line. Very good. Your tight end down the middle can be good.
And it was first down yardage, so the Saints have it at the 15 on the first down play. Beverly cuts up inside and gets near the 10-yard line. E.J. Jr. made the stop for St. Louis. Leonard Smith has been the pivotal figure in the game so far.
Here you see Leonard Smith. They line him up on the line. He plays pass defense sometimes. Here they bring him, but what you do is you tell your tight end. It's not a play that's designed to block him, but you tell your tight end, if you see that strong safety come, just get a little piece of it.
He got a pretty big chunk.
Got a big chunk of it.
Second down 7. Pass complete to Eric Martin.
Well, they're giving Eric Martin all kind of room on the outside. The defensive back half the time is not even making the picture. Anytime you get a guy that'll give you that much room on the outside, as they did several plays ago, you take that. Take that 4 or 5 yard gain, work the ball down in, and that's to your benefit to take. Anytime you get 6, 7 yards on a play like that, this close to the goal line, take it.
Martin's got 5 catches for 58 yards. Another factor besides the room, Kenny, he's pretty rangy, and both Cardinal cornerbacks are 5'9".
They throw the ball up, let him go up and get it. They seem to giving him an awful lot of respect playing way off of it. Here's their short yardage situation.
3rd and 1 in Busch Stadium. Rodenberger has first down yardage down to about the 2.
Rodenberger, big back, 6'3", 235 pounds. To get the body lean, and try to get the first down yardage. To give him his progress for the first down.
Charlie Baker made the stop, but now it will be 1st and goal for New Orleans.
Little play pass might not be good, might not be too bad right here, Jim. They've been running the ball down in here from their short yardage formation. Here's their short yardage formation. Maybe a little play pass might be good, maybe on 2nd down.
Triple tight ends. Dwight Beverly.
Touchdown. Great play. Good run. Dwight Beverly's doing an awful lot for his stock today. He's been a workhorse player. He's got great balance. He's got good leg strength. He gets that body lean going like that, and he's running behind Ken Kaplan, 6'5", 275 pounds, and Henry Thomas, 275. You get those big guys going forward, and that's what you got to do. Leonard Smith up on the line where he's been all day. You see the tight end. You see number 82 turning out to Ken O'Neill, blocking him out. There's the lead back, and good leg drive by Dwight Beverly. Touchdown.
It was Forney, 59, who got both hands on Beverly before he got to the goal line, and Dwight just dragged him into the end zone. And now Mike Topher again fails to add the extra point. Hit the upright and bounced off.
Boy, those extra points can come back to haunt you, and they've got 2 of them today.
So it is 17-12 now as New Orleans gets its 2nd touchdown and fails on the PAT a 2nd time. As we bring you back to the stadium by the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, I'm Jim Lampley with Ken Stabler. The New Orleans Saints have just capped off a sustained drive with a touchdown that narrowed St. Louis's lead in this game to 17-12. We've got 4:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. Mike Topher kicks off. By Sikahema brings it back across the 30 to the 31-yard line, and the Cardinals now bring onto the field an offense which has picked up 3 first downs in the game, 2 of them by penalty. This is the same offense which had a lot of yardage against Washington last week and came into the game as the #1 yardage producing offense in the NFL. There are the numbers for today.
244 yards for New Orleans, 44 for the St. Louis Cardinals. The defense has kept them in the game. Leonard Smith helping with turnovers. They forced fumbles. They've got a big special play from Sikahema, their punt return specialist, and that's what's keeping them in the game.
And they just got a broken tackle from Derek McAdoo and a big pickup from the fiery little running back out of Baylor. Derek Taylor finally put him down, but let's take another look at Derek McAdoo.
Here you see some tough running from Derek McAdoo. In between Ray Brown, who has an opportunity to stay with this team, and Tom Welter. Keith Redisick, the center, all the left side of the offensive line, doing a nice job.
McAdoo made the team as a rookie, crossed the picket line on Friday, October 2. One of several players who crossed that day. Everybody thought they would help the Cardinals against the Skins last week. Gene Stallings said they might have hurt. Flag down as Earl Farrell takes the football and stops in his tracks.
We've got some movement on the offensive line. False start.
63, first down.
Yeah, interesting. Everybody thought that the Cardinals, with all the regular players back, were prohibitive favorites to beat Washington last week, and Gene Stallings said that he knew better going into the game.
Well, he did. He said that, well, they only came in like October 2nd, October the 3rd, a day or so prior to the game, and but yet he was in a no-win situation. They were in camp. He had to play them, so he played them. They'd only been in camp 2 or 3 days. They had 7 pass completions for over 20 yards apiece, and that was contributed to missed assignments by some of the veteran players.
Earl Farrell, carrying now on 1st and 15, has the pickup of about 4. Josie Forrest made the stop for New Orleans. So credit Farrell with a gain of 6. It'll be second down 9.
Well, they've got the ball out midfield here. They've got some room to do some things now, but they haven't been very successful. Their pass protection hasn't held up well, and when the pass protection has held up, then Halloran hasn't thrown the ball very accurately. So they've got their work cut out for them to move the ball. They're trying to do it on the ground right now, giving them a lot of motion, a lot of shifts.
Halloran is 2 of 6 for 5 yards. He gives again to McAdoo. Bill Rowe makes the stop for New Orleans. And the small crowd here begins to get a little restless with the Cardinal offense, or lack of it.
As a result of the lack of offense, they're running the ball and they're not maintaining control of the ball. They've created a passing situation here with 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8, and they've had to give the ball up the last 2 series of downs to the New Orleans Saints. And as a result, you can see that the momentum has changed. It favors the Saints now. Not exactly the stats you would think out of a St. Louis Cardinal quarterback that comes in here behind guys like Jimmy Hart, Neil Lomax.
Dropped by Troy Johnson, another returning veteran who crossed the picket line on Friday, October 2nd. Make it 2 of 7 for Halloran, and bring Greg Cater out once again to kick it away for the Cardinals.
Well, this has been the situation the last 3 series of downs. They'll get up there and not throw the ball well enough on 3rd down to maintain control, then they kick the ball away. The Saints, on the other hand, have been able to sustain some long drives through running with the triple option late in the second half, and then John Forcade came back second half, completed some passes and moved the ball. The Saints have played much better ball on both sides of the ball, both sides of the line, offensively and defensively. Turnovers have hurt them.
Cater's last punt was a 29-yarder. This one is also short. Martin picks it up and gets back to about his 21-yard line. Coming up next, doubleheader action continues on CBS Sports, as most of you will see a very strong Washington Redskin replacement squad go to the Meadowlands to take on the winless New York Giants. The rest of you will see the 49ers face Atlanta, and in case you have dispensed with reading newspaper articles about the strike, Joe Montana, Roger Craig, and several other 49ers have crossed the picket line. We'll wait to see if they suit up and play. All that coming next on CBS Sports. Telltale numbers in the game. New Orleans has dominated ball movement and possession. Dwight Beverly, who's having a very big game, gets the football for the 28th time and is brought down by Gary Doolin after a pickup of about 6 yards.
The very same thing they've been doing is just off the corners with Dwight Beverly behind the big offensive lineman and maintain control of the ball. Then when they get the ball up around midfield, the thinking process goes to spread things out a little bit more, throw the ball. They get up in here, they see that people are giving Eric Martin an awful lot of room on the outside, so they throw the ball, but not backed up. They really get midfield before doing something like that.
Beverly on second down is stopped short of first down yardage as Goralczyk was there to meet him for St. Louis.
It's the very same thing they've been doing the whole game. The same type of attack. The thing that keeps them behind is the special teams play that Sikahema made, and then the turnovers by their backup quarterback when Forcade was hurt.
On the sideline for St. Louis, Sammy Garza, who is listed as the backup quarterback behind Halloran, has begun to warm up. Garza didn't play last week against the Redskins, but Stallings was looking for a chance to use him today. 3rd down for the Saints. Malcolm Scott with the football has first down yardage across the 35 near the 40-yard line. Tony Mays made the stop for the Cardinals.
Take their 2 tight end formation and run people off, run people through the secondary and run people off, and then try to get the tight end up underneath. This gentleman right here was a lot of teams when these replacement teams are being put together. There were several different teams that had a lot of interest in Sammy Garza. The reason he's not starting here is because he really hasn't picked up the system, hasn't been here long enough to pick up the system the way that Gene Stallings would like.
There's an interesting story about Garza's presence in a Cardinal uniform, which we'll get to in a moment. On first down for the Saints, Forcade begins to look around, goes back across field to Beverly, and Beverly is across midfield and into Cardinal territory. There's a flag down back in the New Orleans backfield.
That's that's just great vision on Forcade's part to be able to scramble back to your right and see somebody on the middle of the field back. They're not going to get it because of the penalty, but it's just great vision on his part to be able to sprint out and stop and throw the ball back across the field and see someone like that.
So they'll move it back, and as they do, we pick up the story on Garza. He played at the University of Texas at El Paso and had the best passing statistics in the Western Athletic Conference last year. But the Cardinals spent their #1 draft choice on another WAC quarterback, Kelly Stouffer of Colorado State. Stouffer never signed. He's not here. Garza is. That's the end of the third quarter with the score, the St. Louis Cardinals 17 and the New Orleans Saints 12. We now pause for a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Northwest. Look who gives you more of the world from more of the USA. Look to Northwest. And by Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars.
John Forcade drops back for New Orleans and almost throws an interception as the Saints begin the fourth quarter with the football at their 29-yard line.
I think Forcade tried to force that one. He had his running back, Rodenberger, right over the middle. He could have dumped the ball to, but he tried to force that one.
Cheap seats, Kenny.
Yep. What do those go for?
Well,
is that the new St. Louis skyboxes that you...
Is there admission to the Gateway Arch?
Very expensive skybox.
I don't think the Bidwell family wanted those skyboxes to be...
Get there by shuttle. Space shuttle.
There's a lot of space between here and there, that's for sure. But you can see the eyes of people who are watching the game from up there. On second down and 20, it is Beverly who has a pickup of only a couple before the ubiquitous Leonard Smith is there.
Leonard Smith's doing it on both sides of the ball. He scores points for him, and he's stopping them, too. He's done an awful lot for this team defensively. Rushes the passer on the safety blitz, lines up, plays run support as almost like a linebacker on the outside.
3rd and 17. 6:32.
Leonard Smith is a fifth-year player out of McNeese State in Louisiana.
Here's their three wide receivers, obvious passing down.
On 3rd and 17. Stacy Dawsey is dropped.
That particular situation, the St. Louis Cardinals will just drop back into deep zone coverage and give them the short pass underneath for long yards, stop them short of the first down.
It was E.J. Jr. who made the stop on Dawsey, so now Tommy Barnhart will come on to kick it away for New Orleans. And Sikahema will go deep to receive for St. Louis. Last year's Pro Bowl kick returner standing at his 20-yard line. He's already had one punt return which set up a field goal today. Barnhart went after him. Couldn't get out of trouble. Victor Harrison, number 86. Check it. It was Adrian McBride, number 86. Adrian McBride of St. Louis, number 86.
Here you see it right here. They line up and come straight off the corners. Good snap, but there's just no place to kick the ball. There he is right there. Adrian McBride right on top of him. They line up in the block situation, come off the corners, and come and get him.
And it was Tony Mays who got there first. So Barnhart,
special teams, does it again.
Stunned by the rush. And now the Cardinals have a chance from the 27. That is Derek McAdoo with the ball, and indeed Sammy Garza has come on to take over at quarterback for St. Louis.
Talking to Gene Stallings, he was real high on this young man. Like we said earlier, the reason he hasn't played is because he's only been in a short period of time. You see him right there looking at that wristband on his wrist. It's a group of plays, probably some passing plays, probably some short yardage plays, something he can refer to keep him going. A lot of teams wanted this young man when they started fielding the replacement teams. A lot of teams liked him. A lot of teams wanted him. Gene Stallings thinks he might have some ability to play.
On second down, this is McAdoo who gets down near the 15-yard line and is going to have a first down for the Cardinals. Only their fifth first down of the ball game. Bill Rowe made the stop. McAdoo tough again.
Here you see McAdoo over Tom Wilder and Ray Brown coming in. There's a lead blocker, Farrell, in front of him. It's real tough running, big strong legs, gets the body lean going, knocks it down in there for the first down.
Well, he's a pugnacious little guy, 5'10", 198 pounds. You saw his numbers. Here he is again. A week ago, McAdoo and Vi Sikahema had a shoving match on the sideline after McAdoo got in front of Sikahema and took a kickoff return away from him.
Well, these guys get this opportunity to play, and they want to make the most of it. If it's their turn to line up, you can bet they're going to get out there and line up. It's a last shot thing for a lot of these players. They want to make the most of it.
He's a distant cousin of the former University of North Carolina basketball great Bob McAdoo, star of various NFL teams, or NBA teams, I should say. Former league scoring leader in the NBA and in the Italian league. Garza rolling out near the goal line, down to about the 2-yard line.
Designed play. Designed play to get him outside. He's got good running ability, and you see right here he gives a little play fake and comes in. You see Farrell, number 31, is going to lead him. Comes in front of him and leads him out there. He cuts off a Farrell's block right here and gets it down in there for the first down. Do things like that instead of throwing the ball with somebody who hasn't been in camp long enough to get down the passing game. You do things for design things like this for a quarterback who has that kind of mobility.
They mark it at the 4-yard line and call it 1st and goal for the Cardinals from there. So Garza comes on and gets 2 quick first downs as the Cardinals try to take advantage of the scoring opportunity created by the rush on the punter.
Ill-advised throw as far as I'm concerned. You get down in there inside the 5-yard like that, you got a play pass call, you get out there and you try to force the ball in there, the ball gets intercepted, it kills you. Just take the ball and throw it in the cheap seats.
Intended receiver was McAdoo. And we welcome those of you who have been watching Dallas and Philadelphia. Tony Dorsett had a touchdown run in that game, Kenny. I'm Jim Lampley with Kenny Stabler. We're in Busch Stadium in St. Louis. That's the score with 11:38 to go in the game, and now the Cardinals try to stretch that lead. Sammy Garza calling signals, giving to Derek McAdoo, and McAdoo is down near the goal line.
Nice cut. 2 tight end situation with the wing man, and they put a lead back on the linebacker and let him cut off of that block. Good tough running by Derek McAdoo.
You're looking at a game which has been dominated offensively by the New Orleans Saints, but in which the Saints fell behind 17-0 as a result of their own mistakes and St. Louis's ability to take advantage. A long return of a fumbled snap on a field goal attempt for a touchdown. A field goal set up by a punt return, and then a return of a fumble for another touchdown made it 17-zip.
There it is.
Sammy Garza is going to make it 23-12.
That's the thing that the mobile quarterback can do is you get him outside and you give him an option. You give him an option of throwing the ball. You try to get the tight end back in the back of the corner. If everybody drops off, then you take the ball in. Here's what we were talking about. It's a design sprint out play. You see Garza, who is very, very mobile, can run. He's got lead blockers in front of him. He takes a look at his tight end, throws the ball up, holds the ball up in the air, pulls it down, goes in for the touchdown. You can design things like that for a quarterback who can get outside and run. John Forcade's that type player, so is Sammy Garza.
Starofsky adds the extra point, and again, a key New Orleans mistake backfires against the Saints. Tommy Barnhart trapped as he tried to get rid of a punt. That set up a touchdown for St. Louis.
Today's small cars are tougher than ever on oil. Their high-compression engines not only rev high, they can run hotter than regular small car engines. Their searing heat can begin to break down an oil immediately. That's why there's Castrol, the only leading motor oil that in every grade provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol before your engine does something to get you heated up. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Every day, millions of batteries die an early death. They die in flashlights, cameras, radios, simply because they lost some life.
waiting to be bought. But only new Duracell battery packs have a freshness state that guarantees they'll live a long life, not a short one. Freshness stating from Duracell.
And join the party.
Well, the new hero on the sideline for St. Louis is Sammy Garza, who has just scored his first National Football League touchdown to stretch a 17-12 St. Louis lead to now 24-12. And the drive covered 26 yards in 7 plays after the New Orleans punter Tommy Barnhart was trapped without being able to release a punt. Michael Adams makes the catch on the kickoff by Starofsky and gets the ball back across the 30-yard line. One thing you see in the replacement NFL are extremely short kickoffs.
Yeah, the kicking game has, you see a lot of special team scoring. You see punt returns, you see kickoff returns. You'll see an awful lot of block punts and putting pressure on the punters because they only have a certain amount of time to work with these guys on special teams, and it's a time-consuming thing to work on special teams.
What was the stat? There were 7 punts blocked around the league last week.
John Forcade back in. He's been limping. He got his knee hurt earlier in the game. It doesn't seem to hurt his mobility, but they go right back to their workhorse.
Dwight Beverly, who has become one of the busiest running backs in the National Football League today, now has 123 yards in the game. Beverly didn't play all that much last week, although he started. It was Vincent Alexander who got most of the action at the running back position, but this week Alexander went away to San Diego to visit a girlfriend, and Beverly became the man. Beverly falls forward this time for a few yards as a penalty flag goes down.
Holding. Number 88. Second down.
Well, that holding call goes against Mike Waters, the tight end, and that'll wipe out a carry by Beverly. So leave him at 31 carries on the day. The club record, Kenny, is 35.
Who holds the club record?
Who do you think?
Let's see. Otis Anderson?
No. How about, we're talking about the Saints.
Oh, the Saints? Ruben Mays. Earl Campbell, okay.
It was Earl.
Played with Earl Campbell for Houston, played with Earl Campbell in New Orleans. What a great player he was.
Yeah, and when you had him in the I formation, that was what Bum wanted you to do.
In the I formation and pound off the tackles, and he was good at doing that.
New Orleans was 14 of 18 on third downs last week, 9 of 16 this week. And if Martin had held that one, they'd have had another third down conversion.
Ball a little bit behind him. Forcade sitting in the pocket pretty well. He threw the ball pretty good. Threw the ball a little bit behind him on Eric Martin's left hip. Should have been caught.
Immediately following this game, stick with CBS Sports for the doubleheader game 2. Many of you will see Washington and the Giants. Some of you will see San Francisco against Atlanta. Check the local listings for the game in your area. Jim Moore, the coach of the New Orleans Saints, now watches his team attack third down and 15 yards to go from the 27-yard line.
Shotgun to 3 wide receivers.
And there is the third down conversion as Forcade gets it into the hands of Eric Martin. He's limping badly, but that was a heck of a throw.
That's the thing that he does the best. Is when he gets outside, he's like the old way when he gets outside. He gets out there and moves around. He improvises, gives guys a chance to run and move and to get open. You see him, he gets outside here. Buys a lot of time. He's got great vision of the field. You see he stops and throws the ball back. He sees Eric Martin cutting in behind the linebacker, E.J. Jr., and he throws a strike on the run going to the side that he doesn't normally sprint out to. Very talented young quarterback.
25-yard pickup. Incomplete this time. Forcade was dumped by Gary Doolin, and he gets up limping very badly. Attendance here has been announced at 11,795. Green Bay has 35,779 fans in attendance today.
Well, there's a lot of people that speculated that the attendance would be down after the curiosity factor brought people in last week, but it looks as though that the attendance is probably up.
So it looks like the upper Midwest is the hotbed of replacement football, with 32,000 at Chicago and 35,000 plus at Green Bay. Forcade almost throws an interception. Is prevented from doing so by Victor Burnett, who dumped him as he released the ball.
His leg has really bothered him an awful lot, and he's admired him for playing the way that he's playing, but it's hurting him an awful lot. That time he has had trouble stepping up in the pocket and getting rid of the ball. And you can see right now that he's really limping, but I admire him for doing what he's doing.
He was coaching football and teaching at John Ehret High School when the Saints contacted him.
When he's outside, when he gets outside and sprints out and gets out there and buys some time, he's a dangerous quarterback.
I bet he's a pretty good coach over at John Ehret High School. Blitz. Catch.
We'll get a little interference call here with the catch.
Scott was dragged down just short of first down yardage.
Defensive pass interference, number 27, first down.
27 is Tony Mays, the free safety out of Kentucky.
Here you see him in the shotgun, probably because his mobility of that bad knee, and here you see him, he delivers the ball right on time, but you see the defensive back hanging on him like a cheap suit, but he still makes the catch and gets it up in there close for the first down.
So they get the first down on the pass interference call. Scott was short of first down yardage.
They may have gone to the shotgun because it takes a lot of pressure off of Forcade's knee.
He got hit again, though. Gives to Beverly, and Beverly cuts up inside and twists and turns for a couple. Moving the ball to the 37-yard line. Clock running with 8:20 to go. Saints are going to have to score twice to win it. Beverly's going to get a momentary breather.
Second and 6. They're going to have the arm of Forcade to get it done because the clock is working against them. They've got to have a couple of scores. The other two quarterbacks, one of them was running the wishbone. The other one was ineffective as a rookie backup quarterback. Forcade has to do it for them if they're going to get it done.
Boy, he makes some nice throws on the run, doesn't he?
He does that as consistently as anybody I've ever seen. He looks like Archie Manning when he's playing like that. He gets outside, runs around out there, and gives guys time to room, gives guys time to work and to find those holes, find those spots.
We welcome those of you who've been watching Dallas and Philadelphia. There's the time remaining in the fourth quarter. After a throw from John Forcade off a very gimpy knee, New Orleans has first down at the 20-yard line. This is a game which has been dominated by the Saint offense, which is going to catch a break here on the apparent pass interference call against Ken Sims of the Cardinals. Saints have moved the ball up and down the field as referee Fred Wyant makes that call against St. Louis, and that's going to set up a first and goal for New Orleans. But St. Louis went up to a 17-0 lead.
They come out in the spread formation to get their man-to-man coverage, which they got. They got man-to-man coverage. This guy's been giving Eric Martin an awful lot of room all day. This time he's all over the top of him. You expect that man-to-man coverage when you get down on this part of the field. They spread things out to get the man-to-man coverage, to spread the defense, and then go to work.
Cardinals lead in the game 24-12. All 24 of their points set up by special teams play and New Orleans mistakes. Forcade, the quarterback for New Orleans, who was brilliant against the Rams last week, has been nursing a strained knee ever since the second quarter. But the Saints must use him to have any chance of coming back. So it is 24-12 St. Louis. Saints threatening with 7:02 to go, and we'll be back.
Hi, we're almond growers. We know many of you enjoy the great taste of barbecuing, which improves the flavor of everything, including almonds. A friendly word of advice. If you try to barbecue almonds, they're likely to fall through your grill. So we've barbecued them for you.
That's right. That's right.
You're welcome.
Blue Diamond almonds, now in barbecue and 7 other great tastes.
A can a week. That's all we ask.
You know, it's funny. When I tell people I really do use Prel, they don't believe me.
They think that because I'm a model, I have a bathroom full of hairdressers or something. The truth is, I really love what it does to my hair. It gives my hair body and fullness. You really should try it yourself. You'll love it. And if you don't, they'll give you your money back. Your hair's worth at least that, right?
Well, you know the bad news.
Charlie Carlson is in the meeting of his life, and his shirt is perfectly dry. But that doesn't mean he smells good. Because underarm odor isn't visible, he needs total protection. Sure Solid.
If everyone would take a
Sure not only helps protect against wetness, it actually kills bacteria that cause odor. So, Charlie, why go to work with a dry shirt and a false sense of security? Use Sure Solid, and be just as sure about odor as you are about wetness.
A doubleheader day of NFL replacement games continues as the Washington Redskins battle the New York Giants. Coming up next on CBS Sports.
We are back at Busch Stadium where the New Orleans Saints are going to try to get close to St. Louis once again. What did I say about the upper Midwest? I'll give you that number in a minute.
Here's their short yardage formation, Jim. Right off the corner.
White Beverly has the touchdown, which gets the Saints back close in the game again.
He's done it all day for him. He's picked up the crucial third down plays and running right off the corners with Dwight Beverly. Here you see it down low. They come out in their short yardage formation. They go off for Dyer and Gilbert, the big left tackle, and James Camper, 6'3", 260, and Beverly, who's done it all day, just bangs it in there right off the left tackle.
33 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns now for Beverly from the University of Illinois. Mike Koper has had the dickens of a time trying to get a PAT through the goalposts. Flags are down right now. That one is the second one in a row to hit the upright. He's going to patent that particular move.
Offside, number 45.
Well, we're going to get another shot.
And that time he caught the inside of the upright, and they can decline the penalty and put the point on the board. So they narrow to 24-19. Attendance at Dallas today for replacement football between the Cowboys and the Eagles, 40,662.
Wouldn't have thought it.
We'll be back.
That's surprising.
A difficult time all day for the Saints. This is the third PAT try not to go through cleanly. But Beverly on the sideline reacted by saying, oh my, we got one. We have a PAT.
Well, he understands how important those extra points are. Yeah, they make you go a long way for those points. You need every one you can get, especially in those cases. Of course, in this situation, they've got to have another score to win anyway.
Figure this, Kenny. If they're going to beat the Cardinals with 4 touchdowns, they would have to have 1 PAT.
1 out of 4 would be good enough. So you can ask your kicker to get one of those, maybe.
They got that one, so now they don't have to worry about that. A 6-pointer could win for them now. Koper kicks it away. Good long high kick. Reasonable anyway. Sikahema from the 5. Gets out to about the 22. Tony Woodruff, Gene Atkins made the stop for the Saints. Now here's what's happened in the game so far. St. Louis got 14 points directly from turnovers. Dwight Beverly has had a huge game running the ball for New Orleans, and they have dominated ball possession and total yardage and first downs in the game. But St. Louis, because of their ability to capitalize on a few big plays, leads 24-19. The St. Louis offense looked miserable until the moment when that man, Sammy Garza, came into the game on the last Cardinal possession and took him to a 26-yard touchdown drive after Tommy Barnhart was trapped trying to punt the ball away from New Orleans.
Well, Sammy Garza and the St. Louis offense, their responsibility right here is to work on the clock. There's 6 minutes and 40 seconds left. They're leading 24-19. Get some first downs and do it on the ground. Get them out there. Like I said, work on the clock. Get the ball out there. Control the clock. If you have to punt, then play for field position.
And if the Cardinals can win the game, Kenny, they may be inventing a new way to win in the NFL. They are -2 yards passing on the day.
I wouldn't count on winning every game with -2 yards passing, but their defense has helped them out an awful lot. The Saints have helped them out with the turnover turnovers and their special teams has made it happen for them.
You'd have been embarrassed to win a game with minus 2 yards passing.
Wouldn't claim it.
Garza would love to claim it. He passes the ball now to Derek McAdoo, and McAdoo gets out of bounds.
You see, he's got his wristband on his left hand. He hasn't been in camp very long with this team, and it's a way to help him out. He'll have a list of plays on there, maybe some third down plays, maybe some pass plays, and some short yardage plays. The play he just called right then was a safe play to call in this situation, backed up your own territory. Throw a little flat pass out there where the back can get out there and try to get some yards.
Didn't get him a first down, but it got him into the black on passing yard.
Got him into the black. Need a first down here. This is a big play for them to maintain control and work on the clock.
And what are you going to do on 3rd and 4? New Orleans shows blitz and brings it. Garza almost throws it into the hands of number 29, Reggie Sutton. No flag down. Fans wanted interference.
They get a break there. Pick off right there, and they got a new game starting. Here you see Garza backing up and throw the ball. He gets it set back there. He gets a little bit of a push. He has to throw the ball a little bit before he wants to, but it's really ill-advised. He had good coverage on the outside. The best thing to do is just throw the ball away and punch. You give up a turnover right there, and then you got a new game.
There's Reggie Sutton, who had a touchdown on a blocked punt last week against...
Looks like they're coming after the punter here.
Rams. Gators punt. Taken by Eric Martin. He gets a couple of illegal blocks. Got a couple of illegal blocks.
Got a couple of clips.
And got it near midfield. A picket line of clips. Peter Noga was downfield to cover the kick for St. Louis. And Peter Noga is down. For the second time in the game, Noga is shaken up. This time on the sideline right in front of the New Orleans bench. Doubleheader game 2 coming up right after this on CBS Sports. Many of you will see the Washington Redskins against the New York Giants. And the rest of you will see the San Francisco, now not so phony Niners against the Atlanta Falcons.
Joe Montana and his group coming in and take on the Falcons. We'll see what they do.
A dozen players cross the picket line all in the same day.
And they've been in there long enough to put some things together too, so they should be pretty effective.
Noga leaves the field. Outside, his brother Nico Noga remains on strike, while Peter wears his number for the Cardinals.
Plenty of time here for the New Orleans Saints. They've got 5 minutes, 40-something seconds left to go. They've got 70 yards worth of real estate to cover, and that's plenty of time to do that. They just have to get their plays called effectively and use their timeouts effectively, throw the ball outside. You tell your backs and your receivers to get out of bounds when necessary.
Mora has shed the jacket as he sees a little warmth, perhaps in Forcade's performance today. Forcade gives to Beverly, and the 34th carry of the game for Beverly gets him a few yards before Charlie Baker brings him down. Beverly now 1 carry away from matching Earl Campbell's club record for most carries with the football.
Here they're going to give them some spread looks. They're throwing formations because they realize they're going to have to put the ball in the air to get down the field. They get those spread formations, drop back to pass, let those linebackers drop out of there and slip a draw in on them like they did then.
2nd down and 6 yards to go. Drop of the day for Mike Waters.
Mike Waters was supposed to be the receiving tight end in this outfit. We talked to Jim Moore, and he had two tight ends who are good blockers. This gentleman right here was supposed to be the receiver of the tight end group. And you see Forcade back, sets in the pocket. There he is, right between the 2 linebackers. And he couldn't, a little bit behind him, but the tight end should make the catch. Receiver should make that one.
Well, he had both hands on it. Indeed, the pass was about a half step behind it. Waters runs off with the blonde hair flopping against his shoulder pads. There's the passing yard statistic, showing New Orleans dominance in that category. Forcade on 3rd down runs for the first down. This is a gutty performance.
He really is. He's showing something right now. There's some intangibles in some players that you don't really see, and he's showing us one that he has. He's got that bad leg, but yet he understands what he has to do to win. They give him a spread formation and a shotgun. He drops back, sees that big opening because they're playing zones. The linebackers run out of there in those zones. Forcade sees that he can get the first down by running, protects himself by sliding in.
He has carried the ball 4 times for 40 yards in the game. And has converted 3 third downs on those 4 carries. Beverly drops the football. Cardinals have it.
Well, oddly enough, it happens to the guy who's been carrying them all day. He's got 130-something, 40 yards, and sets a team record for carries, and then oddly enough, lays it on the ground.
And ironically, it happened on the carry on which he equaled Earl Campbell's club record in that category.
Here you see it right here. Nothing fancy, just a plain vanilla. Off behind Ruttenberger's block, behind 77 left tackle's block. He gets hit, the ball pops loose. And it, like you say, on the carry that sets the record, Charlie Baker forced the fumble, number 52, the linebacker. Tony Mays recovers.
McAdoo gets outside. Big run for Derek McAdoo. Derek Taylor made the saving tackle. Clock runs.
Here you see McAdoo behind the left side of that offensive line, behind Tom Welter, Keith Redisick to center, and Ray Brown. Ray Brown is a player who may remain with this team, but he gets outside containment, cuts in behind the wide receiver's block for a good game.
J.T. Smith with a block that helped to spring McAdoo around the corner. Good numbers for the little running back from Baylor. Here he goes again. Near the 20. Before Derek Taylor again made the stop.
Doing what they have to do on offense. They realize there's only 3 minutes left in the game, and the thing that they have to do is to take the ball away from the New Orleans Saints. Don't put the ball in their hands. Keep it away from them. The best defense against them is not to give them the ball. They're maintaining control of it on the ground, working on the clock.
St. Louis first and 10. That was another first down for the Cardinals. McAdoo now with 15 carries for 84 yards. This is Farrell. And Farrell sneaks up inside for a couple before DeForest stops him.
They give him the same formation that they pitched from. They give him the I formation. The quarterback reverses out, fakes the toss to McAdoo, gives to Farrell inside.
Gene Stallings can see his team even its record at 2-2.
I think Gene Stallings has to be pleased with what he sees out of his running backs. He was interested in seeing what Derek McAdoo, what he can do. He knows what Farrell can do. J.T. Thomas, he knows, is a good player. I think he'll be real pleased with their offensive performance running the ball. They haven't thrown the ball at all.
McAdoo, the ball carrier, met by Scott Leach. Well, it's a strange year in the NFL. And in the NFC East, with the Giants off to an 0-3 start, staring at 0-4 if they can't beat the Redskins today. Could be a wide open race.
They call a timeout here, 2 minutes, 15 seconds left, because the 2-minute warning will give you an extra timeout. So you call the timeout with 15 seconds left to go, then you get your timeout as a 2-minute warning. So you get an extra timeout in this situation.
Sammy Garza is the man who has been handing the ball off for St. Louis. Garza's going to wind up with 1 completed pass in the game.
He's come in the game, and he really hasn't sparked him with his passing at all. He's been running the ball real well. He ran for a couple of first downs. He ran one in for a score, but he came in and provided some kind of spark. Whatever kind of spark you get, that's fine. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you do it.
As much as anything, he's just looked like a field general, and Halloran didn't.
They seem to be playing an awful lot better. The offensive line is coming off the ball better with him, and for what reason, we don't know, but he has added some spark. Good, tough running.
Derek McAdoo again.
That's good, tough running to dive up in there. He knew what he had to have for the first down, lowered his head and shoulder. He's a tough kid. Dive up in there and get it. Gene Stallings was real high on this guy.
And he converted the third down as we go to the 2-minute warning. So now, with 1st and goal from the 9. 2 minutes to go. We'll be back.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
You gotta be tough to keep 45 bears in line. But even us tough guys like a little extra comfort underneath. And that's why I switched from ordinary underwear to Hanes. I like the soft touch of Hanes pure cotton t-shirts and the smooth fit of Hanes comfort weave waistband. Now I'm as nice to be around as a teddy bear. Right, guys?
I said, right, guys?
Right, Coach.
It's not just underwear. It's Hanes.
Experience a new dimension in sight and sound. Now every sight, every sound, every performance in the theater of life is yours. Trust RCA to bring it to you on the ultimate audio-video system, Dementia, only from RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Well, Kenny, if St. Louis wins this game, as it appears they probably will, these are going to be the lioness statistics of all time. They just converted their first 3rd down of the game. They're 1 for 7. The Saints are 10 for 18 in that category. But as a result of the 3rd down conversion on the McAdoo run, the Cardinals now have 1st and goal at the 9. Earl Farrell pounding the ball up inside. Clock running. And the Cardinals trying to add an insurance touchdown as New Orleans calls timeout.
Well, they've got one more left after this, and you can bet that the St. Louis Cardinals will keep the ball on the ground. You see Garza's headed over side. Jim Mora's a little bit worried, and rightfully so. His team has dominated play. They've dominated yardage. They've dominated time of possession, but yet they've also dominated in mistakes. There's Garza. You see Garza on the sideline referring to his wrist. It's a wristband that they give him with a certain number of plays in certain situations.
Well, and offensive coordinator Jim Schaffner was talking about yesterday. He's doing a skeleton drill with Sammy Garza, and he said, Sammy, we're going to run, I don't know, you tell me the play.
We're going to run 64X out, Z-flag post or something like that. And Sammy Garza turned and looked at Jim Schaffner and said, could you run that by me again? But he hasn't been there very long at all. But they have high hopes for him, and they think he's got an awful lot of ability. He's a good leader. There was other teams around the league that were interested in him, and he has come in and supplied a spark. However you supply it, as long as you do.
64X corner Z-flag post. No, pitch to McAdoo. McAdoo gets it inside the 5. Saints stop the clock one more time.
I think that's their last timeout, Jim.
I think that is.
Saints timeout.
Morris says, yeah, that's right.
He agrees. He understands. Yep. Well, they've beaten themselves today. There's no doubt about that. As you made reference to all the stats, I mean, they've just turned the ball over in some critical situations and big special teams plays. They've missed extra points, and I'm sure Jim Moore wasn't quite expecting this kind of outcome, and he'll take them back, and he'll get them straightened out. Good coach. He's got that whole New Orleans town fired up. Here's Garza on the sidelines.
You think the Cardinals might go with 64X corner Z-flag post?
Right here? If they do, it's going to be a scoop.
The ball would be in Davenport, Iowa.
I'm sure he feels lucky to get out of here with the way things have happened. He understands that his team really hasn't played all that well. I mean, they've scored when they had to, and the Saints have helped them an awful lot. But overall picture, their team really hasn't played very well.
Well, Stallings is a big believer in the idea that you win football games with a few big plays here and there made by great players. And Leonard Smith is as responsible as anybody for this victory today for St. Louis.
He hit the whole... Oh, here's a naked bootleg.
Oh, what a move. He got pretty close. Ken Marchiol made the stop. Garza's inside the 1-yard line.
Good call. Just a naked bootleg down here. Whether he did that on his own or whether it was called, I'm sure that was called after the visit to the sideline.
injured player on the field for the Saints. It's one way of stopping the clock. No, that's the cynical view. Number 22 is Derek Taylor, the free safety. And quickly, let's run through some scores of other games. New England holding off Buffalo 14-7. Dallas takes another step forward in the NFC East. Biggest attendance so far for a replacement game. San Diego trying to stay close to the Raiders in the AFC West. Miami pouring it on Kansas City. Green Bay leading Detroit 13-6. The Browns taking it on the chin perhaps from Houston, and that could damage the Browns' Super Bowl hopes, playoff hopes. Indianapolis not with the big offensive output today against the Jets after that explosion last week by Hogaboom.
Hogaboom throws 5 TDs last week. This week have a little more trouble. The Bears squandering it up against the division team, Minnesota.
The Bears win in any league.
Bears play it tough.
They're going to be 4-0 for the 3rd time in 3 years.
Injured Saints player, 22, Derek Taylor. St. Louis 4th and goal at the 1.
So we'll see what St. Louis will do with 4th and goal at the 1. It does not appear that they're going to kick the field goal to make it 27-19. 27-19 would be
27-19 makes them have to have 2 scores.
Yeah, that would be a safe margin. Instead, the flags are down as New Orleans gets another break with the clock stopped. 1:01 to go. If they don't get the touchdown, and if New Orleans were somehow to win the game, then you would question why they didn't kick the field goal right there.
Absolutely. They kicked the field goal there.
Number 75, after distance, 4th down.
Oh, they get a break here. Yeah, they kick the field goal. It puts them up by 8, makes them have to have 2 scores. Gene Stallings thinking here, if you go in right here, and he puts the game away if you score. If you don't score, then the ball's inside the 1. It makes the New Orleans Saints have to go 99 yards. So I can understand his thinking.
That was encroachment by Bruce Clark. It's the first time I've called Bruce Clark's name all day.
Bruce Clark, great defensive end, all-pro type player, and he really hasn't, like you said, you haven't called his name much today. Really hasn't been a factor in the game.
They lead you to believe that Lance Smith and Tootie Robbins had a big day. There's a big play. Behind the line of scrimmage, McAdoo is met and dropped by number 28, Gene Atkins.
Good play by Gene Atkins. He's their nickelback. It comes in on the passing downs, but here you see the handoff. You see Farrell leading McAdoo, and there's Atkins untouched. Makes a nice tackle to stop him short. Now they've got 58 seconds to go 98 yards.
And still a chance to win the game, as St. Louis refrains from trying to kick the field goal that would have clinched a victory. And now it's nervous time for Gene Stallings and his staff.
All the Saints can do now is they got to spread things out, and they've got to throw the ball.
Cade on the gimpy knee in the end zone. Gets rid of it. Intended receiver was Rodenberger, but an incompletion may have been the best thing that could have happened to him there.
Well, that's all they can do now. They have no more timeouts, so they've got to throw the ball. They don't have time to huddle. They'll have to go with some kind of 2-minute type offense. Whether or not they've got enough of that in, it remains to be seen. But that's the only thing left for them to do. Cade showing a lot of class, a lot of poise, standing back in his own end zone, throwing the ball.
Redskins, Giants, 49ers, Falcons, both coming up after this. Or one or the other, I should say. Doubleheader game on CBS Sports. Second big drop of the day by Stacy Dawsey. Cade told us yesterday that he loved that little receiver, but he might not like him quite as much on the plane ride back.
Well, this reception right here gives him a little hope. It gives him a little light at the end of the tunnel if he catches this, because they get out there where they can maybe still do some things. So Cade running around doing what he does best, and he's got great field vision. There's Stacy Dawsey dropping a perfect strike, and gosh, you hate to see that as a quarterback, especially in this situation.
3rd and 10 at the 2.
Sure, he hates it too.
3rd down 10.
The comes Leonard Smith. Nope.
There's a catch and a first down.
They've got to hustle now because they have no more timeouts, and this is a rookie group together. They haven't played very much together. This is tough on these guys. They have to do it. Forcade's trying his best to lead them.
It was Eric Martin who made the catch. Cardinals are polite enough to get in position. Forcade goes again and gets an incompletion. That time, Dawsey didn't really want to catch it.
A little bit behind him, but it just as well. It stops the clock right now, and they can gather themselves in the huddle and get their heads together, come up with a good play.
Flag was thrown on the far side of the field, and the offside call against the Cardinals. Offside was called against Curtis Greer, who apparently lined up in the neutral zone. There's Greer, big man out of Michigan. Crossed the picket line on Wednesday, September 30.
Real good defensive lineman for them. He's gone through two arthroscopic surgeries in the last year, but still lined up and playing.
Oh, nice catch on the snap. Look at him moving around on that bad knee. Now, this may not be the best decision in history, but he gets out of bounds. Looks like they're going to have about one more shot.
Just a real gutty performance by John Forcade. I mean, he's hurting. You can tell he's obviously hurting, but he's been that way for half the game. He was hurt in the first half of the game, and he's just running around trying to make things happen, doing what he does best, get outside and put pressure on the corners of the defense, let those receivers work, and it's a gutty performance by this man.
It'll be fascinating to see if Forcade can play next week. Probably so. We'll get a few days to rest that knee. And he's always walked like that.
I think those things come with playing quarterback. Here he is again. The only thing left to do is cut it loose.
Picked off. And that'll do it. Mark Mathis made the interception. And Gene Stallings has a rather unlikely victory over Jim Mora and the Saints. A game completely dominated by the St. Louis offense. The final passing statistics for St. Louis showed 4 yards. 4 yards passing in the game, but the Cardinals won it anyway. So for Ken Stabler, this is Jim Lampley saying so long from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the final score was the St. Louis Cardinals 24 and the New Orleans Saints 19. CBS Sports coverage of the